Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome, everybody. I actually got started sort of on time today. Let's see all who is here. Suso, made it. Welcome. Mandela 108, Moonlit Illusion, Spooner Morte, Renee Newton, Futuristic, Kyokuk Monty, Hologirl, Linda Espinosa. I think that's everybody. Oh, wait, there's more. Wait. It's already lagging on me. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Bubbles is in. Two-Pack Music. I don't think I remember you. John Godding, Maria, Kai Lucas Zachary. Did I have that one already? Maria, Justice for All. Dark Wolf's Den is in. Welcome. John Godding. I'm like a total space cadet today. I don't think I even can remember what I said 2 minutes ago. It's been all crazy. Christmas rush, selling online, one less assistant this year. But we're getting through it. T-Box is in. But yeah, I've been running around like crazy all day. And I've barely had a chance to even prepare. So some things are written on scrabby scraps instead of my usual orderly. Well, I wouldn't go so far as to call it orderly, but my usual system. All right, so I might as well just go ahead and cover that Australia one. I think the one I put up as the thumbnail is probably the most obvious one. You can see it like in this map, but see, it's when they color it lightly, it's harder to see. So I like to look at maps that are darkly colored. This one doesn't have it. We're only getting about 1 out of 5 or 6 maps having it right now, but I've never seen it before. And I did not come up with this one, so I cannot claim credit on this one, but it was such a good find, I had to cover it. All right. Okay, this was from retcon user who goes by the name Paperboy NZ. Found this one and posted it on Reddit. Let's see. Let me find a better image. That one's not the one. Here. This is the one I had up. Let me see if I can make it big. Yes, not too bad. Okay. The thing, dang, it looks different already. Oh, that's weird. Okay, I just had this one recently up, and I swear they weren't, the lakes did not look connected last time I looked at it. It's this area up in here. Now, I've been watching this river area down here opening up around like Adelaide. God, I remember Adelaide being like, I don't remember it being on a giant river. Anyway, so this area has been opening up over here, and then what Paperboy NZ's noticed was that in a lot of maps now, there's these giant lakes showing. Now there's an interesting story behind them because they were dry lakes as far as, I guess a lot of the locals consider them dry lakes. But if you look into it, one of them recently flooded like last year and just happens to still be all flooded. Now that's kind of an interesting story because I do remember last year there was a bunch of drama on a couple of the websites of the massive Australian flooding. And they showed this giant lake region, and they look at this giant, all this flooding, and they made it sound like I remember them acting like houses got flooded and all this stuff. And I remember seeing this giant lake, and I'm like, I wonder if the Mandela is working on something there. I mean, obviously it was new flooding, even they were saying it. But so now all of a sudden, these lakes have always been here, and now it's just the lake has flooded, and they flood in occasionally. And that's the story for one of the lakes, which is, let's see if I wrote that down. I'm sure I did. Lake Eyre. It's interesting because they call it Lake Eyre. Sounds like Lake Erie almost. Lake Eyre. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right, so. Lake Eyre. Kati Tanda, or Lake Eyre, lowest natural point in Australia. Somewhere. I'm not like super organized today, so I didn't like look up all this stuff in advance as much, but all right, here, August 1, 2019. Now, I remember this being flooded like last year in the winter. You may have heard the news that there's water in Lake Eyre. So I guess that's it now. Kati Tonda is an amazing sight. Check out these recent pics from Park Insider Tony Magor. So I don't know, did they all just suddenly in 6 months decide to put these lakes on the map now that they have water in them? Like 1 out of 6 of the maps have it already. I wonder, keep an eye on this because I think that you'll find that more and more maps will very rapidly get these, even older maps. Because first it was just flooding. Now it's flooding in a dry lake where water's supposed to be. And this other lake, Lake Torrens, I did some quick searches on that one. That's the lower lake, which is, so I think this one was Eyre and this one was Torrens, if I remember correctly. Lake Torrens. Okay, large ephemeral, normally and/or hayic salt lake. After sufficiently extreme rainfall events, the lake flows out through Pyre Torrens corridor to the Spencer Gulf. So this one has always sometimes had water in it. Ephemeral. I think, if I remember right, ephemeral means that it has water in it like every year during the rainy season, something like that. Transitory. Okay. So there's, but I think ephemeral one refers to lakes. Lakes is more specific than that. Let's see. 35,000 years ago, the lake water was fresh to brackish, but has become increasingly saline. That's what I was reading earlier, was that it was a saline lake. So that's what I have in my head. And yeah, I was right. This that lower lake here. If you look on this map, there's now there's a pretty big lakes over here too. So this is showing Lake Eyre and Torrens. But what the heck, this lake and this lake also? Not sure what's going on there. I wouldn't be surprised if these started to show up really soon. All right, so it used to be fresh to brackish. Now it's saline. I think we're going to find the reverse, because a lot of these things operate in reverse. Where they said we left, we end up going to. I would not be surprised if it starts saline and then it gets... They'll keep saying it's saline, but more and more freshwater things will start to live there. That seems to be the pattern. Whatever they say was in the past will come in the future. The first European to see the lake was Edward Eyre, yet it's called Torrens. Eyre named the lake after Colonel Robert Torrens. The lake filled in 1987 and again in 1989. The 1989 filling resulted in the lake overflowing. All right, well, anyways, so there's no word on what's in there now, but other places were just saying that it's kind of weird because other places were just calling it a saline lake. They weren't saying it was ephemeral. And even this is kind of vague. They just say it flooded and it spilled over. They're not really saying if it's a dry lake or not. They're saying it flooded and spilled over in certain years. So it kind of implies like water's in there a lot, but yet they're calling it ephemeral. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That it's getting all vaguey like that. So I think what we're going to see is these becoming more and more legit lakes. That's what I was finding on my local Salton Sea, is that it's getting bigger and bigger, and the story is that it's getting smaller and smaller. And they keep saying it's getting more and more saline, but what they're getting is more and more fish and more birds, and so it's like it's going opposite. So I think these are going to do the same thing, and Australia has kind of similar weather to here. So this area, a little bit older ME. These lakes showing up in the maps, brand new. You could argue that they were always there, but I think this Gulf of Carpinteria has gotten slowly bigger. I mean, it's an old ME. The other thing is there's just crap loads of freaking islands all over now. For a while there was just Tasmania and it was tiny. Now it's huge. Then there was that Kangaroo Island and there was one other. And now you can see there's like two here, one in the Gulf of Carpinteria. You know that's got to be an Emmy because there was no Gulf of Carpinteria originally. Then looks like there's two more here above Tasmania. And something funny is going over here with the Shark Bay. See if I can expand this a little bit. Yeah, there, that makes it easier to see. What's this business? I don't remember this shredded. Looks like an eyeball and a mouth. Shark Bay, eyeball and a mouth. It looks like an angry fish or something. So, yeah, something's going on over here too. I don't remember this like this at all. This is pinching in here. This down here looks like it's pinching in just a tiny bit. It's following the pattern. The rivers and lakes are expanding and connecting up, and they're moving interior into the land. That's what we've been seeing on all over the world, is these MEs where the fresh water is expanding into the land. So very interesting. As much as they say we're running out of water, the reverse is happening. We're getting more and more fresh water. All right, so that's the geography one. I mean, there's a ton of other ones, but they're a little bit older, so. All right, let's see. All right, I want to talk about this one because this is my little pet project lately. If you type in the Mandela Effect research.com, you will go to my URL, and if you click on that, it just forwards. Oh man. Oh, maybe I don't know my URL. I just got it. I think it's Mandela Effect research.com actually. I see the problem. I'm gonna have to try to get that other one. Yeah, that must be it. Okay, there we go. MandelaEffectResearch.com. It's MandelaEffectResearch.com. I made this on Wix. Wix is actually pretty cool. It's like a website builder. So this is actually a free website. I paid for the URL, but I did not pay for the URL to be officially linked. So therefore, the URL will change when you jump over to here. If you try to type https://MandelaEffectResearch.com, you will get one of those errors that says the certificate is invalid, because I don't have a certificate on here because I don't need any security, because I'm not taking any of your information. I'm not selling anything. There's nothing to steal. But if you get that, you just have to say, yes, I accept the risk. But the easiest thing is to not type HTTPS in there and just type MandelaEffectResearch.com. All right, so what am I trying to do here? I used the Wix template to create this little puppy. And I wanted to combine all the research I could find into one place. And then while I was at it, I went a little crazy and I started adding other stuff, resources, blah, blah. I mean, it's still very much a work in progress. And since I got like a harebrained plan to do this, I also have been twice as busy all week trying to learn how to put a website together. All right, so here's some of the research. If you click on that research button, you get here. This one is the first one I put on because it kind of inspired me. It's the research that I showed you last week. So if you click on here, it takes you off site to the 6 years from now. This is the research I showed you last time, where she looks at the search terms of different umbrellas across different countries. Now, obviously, these are all English words that we're dealing with here, so we wouldn't really expect them to be typed in a lot in other countries, which is one thing we've been kind of thinking about lately is how about a little more info on the foreign country Mandelas, like the non-English speaking? Do we have anybody here who knows like at least a couple Mandelas? We're looking mostly for spelling ones, because spelling ones can be typed in the old spelling versus the new spelling, and they need to be pretty popular in your country, so lots of people are searching them, including the Mandela version. So if anybody knows some of those, we need the before and after, like the old timeline, new timeline. It would be nice to get a few commonly misspelled words in your language that are not Mandela effects, like maybe the top misspelled ones in your country that are not Mandela effects, because then we can search how often those mistakes are made versus how often the Mandela mistake is made. Maybe a couple sentences on maybe some of the just general top Emmys in your country. And then I can make a thing and add it in here. That's the plan anyway. Okay, so anyway, that's for thinking ones. I also went and looked for surveys because I remember there had been a few surveys. And hey, there are a ton of surveys. I probably didn't catch them all. There's a couple really big surveys. That one explains more about it. This one from alternatememories.com. There's the test, a whole bunch of info on what's most popular, scores by country. There's all kinds of stuff on there. And that one's really, I would say, big in that they have like a lot of people who answered. Now, most of these are going to be mostly Mandela people who answered. Some of them did try to get it done with just like random street people. All right, this is another big one. You have to watch the video. So this one is Agro Light Hacker Mandela Effect Report. So it's all on video, the outcome of this one, but this is another big one. As far as they got a lot of people. All right, and then there's just all these little ones. Most popular Emmys on the main sub, which is subreddit Mandela Effect. During a couple different seasons. This one was when people first remember seeing an Emmy versus how long until they thought they had like about 5 Emmys. So they think this one, the longest spread was 44 years. They remember an Emmy in 73. And then by 2017, they knew of about 5 Emmys. So some people, there's actually a lot of people in here who had a pretty long spread. So when's the first Emmy you saw is interesting. 73, 81, 87, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that one's 8 months ago. Popularity, most popular Emmys. This one's interesting. Flip-flop frequency. How many times have you seen flip-flops? 3 times, 2 times, that kind of thing. How many sees which of these Fruit Loops are Fruit Loops? What do people think causes the MA survey? There's probably a bunch more, so if you know any that I don't have on here, again, it's MandelaEffectResearch.com. We'll take you to this Wix site, which is mine. Adding some resources in here. I have a few. Schumann resonance, places that you can track. The power of the Schumann resonance. This one has like daily commentary where they watch the Schumann and then they kind of say what they think about what's going on. So you can see the Schumann there, how powerful it is. Running commentary. So yesterday was really calm. Today, 30 very intense minutes from 6 to 6:30 UTC was today. Yesterday was calm. All right. This one kind of, this one, I don't know if I believe everything they say. You know, they have their assumptions and beliefs about what's going on with the Schumann, and I don't disbelieve everything they say. I don't know. A lot of these things are kind of theory to me. And a lot of people tend to say theories like they know for sure they're fact, but it's interesting to read what people think. First of all, they point out weird anomalies like these blackout regions, okay? Sometimes they have a theory about why, and sometimes they don't. But this website is worth looking at just so you can see, like here was a really weird pattern, so they point that out. These weird white lines. Some of these are kind of old, so, but anyways, it's just, interesting website. So I put it up there. Space weather news. How much does space weather have anything to do with anything else? I don't know. This one's an interesting one. You've probably heard about the random number generators seeming to be less random when something really powerful happens, like 9/11. So here you can go to the random number generator network. If it loads. A lot of these are on heartmath.org. Well, like 4 of them are. So that goes through their website. So I actually really haven't spent a lot of time like trying to figure this out, but I think up here these high peaks are less random. I think that's how it works. Some of these I really need to actually look at more so I know what's going on with them. So I've got space to put more stuff in here. Okay, we did more conversation. So I'm going to put like places you can actually go and talk about the Emmy. I don't know if I'll put many YouTube video places up. You guys kind of know that already, and there's a million of them. But actual places you can go talk. So they need to be open to the public. So if it's invitation only, I probably won't put that up. But right now I have retconned and the other main subreddit, Mandela Effect, where this one is for skeptics, our Mandela Effect. This one is ours, and it says this one's Mandela Effect friendly at retcons, skeptic friendly on Mandela Effect. I won't put too many more of those skeptic friendlies up, maybe none. But people go to this main sub and they think that it's going to be like a cool place, but a lot of us don't like it there. So I decided to just put that on and write it so that people are warned. So I don't know if you guys know of any, like, they need to be pretty active. I'm not going to link them if they're not really doing anything, because sadly most of them fail. So I wait until they get active. I know it's mean, but otherwise I have a million of them on there and they would mostly all be inactive. All right, so if you know any boards or public Facebook places, I should put those up. Actually, I know one Facebook one I should put up, but I haven't done it yet. All right, so that's the plan there. I also made this little thing for media. You can find the conversation in media under this more thing here. All right, so the famous Happy at CERN video is on here. I do plan to put some links to some commentary on it so people will know more about what to look for. Mandela Effect Conference, I put their website. I'm hoping that they'll run another one next year, so that'll get added. The movie, links to the movie. If anybody knows any more stuff, let me know. Back to homepage. Sometime this millennia. How come? No, it's just running really slow. Okay, so this just scrolls through photos, and I haven't put a lot of them up yet, but I'm not sure what I'll put up in here. And that's pretty much it then so far. I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll put a blog in here. Wix is pretty neat, wix.com. I have to say I've been pretty happy with it. I didn't know how to do any website building, but I had ideas in my mind about what I wanted where, and it has let me very much move things around and change things a lot more than I would have expected. And it's free. Now, somewhere up here, there's advertising that you'll have to deal with. And if I actually pay like $13 a month, you won't have to. But I mean, I don't know how many people are ever going to go here and if it's really worth it. But for now, I just want to, especially with the research, I just want to have a place where I can find it all and other people can find it. There's a little bit more than I thought, and we'd like to do more. Also, we have some ideas for some things. And it's really mostly like a couple other people on Retcon that are doing the research, and then I just go, oh, and you might want to add that. So I'm really not responsible for very much of it, but I do want to have it all in one spot. Because what I find happens is people mention it, and then it's real popular on YouTube for 5 minutes, because you know how YouTube is. And the same thing with Reddit. It's on the top for a week, and then it's pushed down, and then nobody knows where it's at. They're trying to do a Google search, but they can't remember what terms to use, and they can't find it. And I think there was some research somewhere about something, and then it's a big hassle to find it. So that's why I wanted to make this. I mean, it's not super fancy, But I think it looks, you know, fairly good. I could probably spiff up this stuff some more, but anyway, I like the front page. I've gotten that far. I like the front page. All right, so here we go. I'm going to delete that one. We've already covered that one. We can close you. All right, now I'm going to actually read and see what you guys are up to. Futures, I'm Australian, know Adelaide, well, been there many times. There's always been there. Yeah, there was like, I'm not saying there wasn't a river, but it wasn't like all peeled open like that for me. It was just a little bitty blue line that never showed up on anything. And now there's this giant peeled open, it's not really big enough to be a gulf, but it's like this. And then there's this river that's really fat. And then these giant lakes. That wasn't like all that before. It was just a little, I mean, it looked little on the map. I'm sure it wasn't that little in reality. You see the same on the east coast of Australia. There's a river that goes in there. It's all opened up. It's just like that now, and then the river goes down in. It never used to be that. It used to be just a tiny little opening that wouldn't even show on the map. I mean, tiny as far as the whole, as showing on the map. It was too small to show. All right, so where are we here? Preliminals in, Cupid's in, Rain on the Plain, Ms. Imaginary. I don't know who else I missed. Digital Intel's in. Always had a Gulf of Carpinteria. Well, why not M remembers that, but no, not for a lot of us. Not for a lot of us. The south part of Australia looks dented. Yeah, it's that river pokes in. I've been watching that grow for like the last, I don't know what, 6 months or so. Certain guy smiling like nothing is wrong. Oh, you know, that reminds me. Speaking of the devil, I guess I don't have to actually go there, but look at that video again. For those of you who maybe looked at it, at least 5 or 6 times, that video, there's a few things I saw in the video that I don't remember being in there or happening exactly the way they happen now. See if you guys see anything, when you get time. Look at the video again and see if you notice anything. You can put it on the comments under this video if you do notice anything. I'm just curious if other people see it at all. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a couple things where I'm just like, I don't remember that. Norwegian band used to be Vassing Gutane, now Vassend Gutane. Yeah, that's a good one. We have a couple more Norwegian ones. Even that one would be enough. I should just put that down because the heck, I'm not going to want to look through my whole stream to find it later. Maybe if we just get one from each country, I think it still shouldn't be that hard. Norwegian band was, I gotta really be careful with these spellings. Vassen Gutane. now. So the G turned to a D, and it lost its dash. Butane. Now, has the meaning changed any for those? Does that change the meaning that much? Just out of curiosity. It's not like I'll know unless you tell me. Just checking to see if there's anything else interesting about that one. I went to your website and bookmarked it. Yeah, I think you can just go bookmark the Wix version because that's the actual website is. I just bought that URL so I could sit on it and so that I could tell you something that's easy to remember. So MandelaEffectResearch.com. I should come up with like a cool tune for it or something. All right, buffering. You're getting buffering. Let me just see. Yeah, stream status bad. Sometimes if you refresh your own website end on your end, it'll get better. What happened to the online AI bot talking surreal to another iBot? I'm not sure about that one. I don't really recall that specifically. At least 6 flip-flops for rain on the plains. Yep. That was an old survey. I wasn't involved in any of those surveys. I mean, I really wasn't involved that much in any of it, but I'm kind of trying to help out now. Oh, yeah, Dark Wolf just added it to the link on the chat there. Good job. I assume you meant Schumann resonance, but you wrote Keokuk Monty. It came out the white lines on the human residents are like really, really high spikes, and I'm like, what? The human residents? Schumann resonance. But that's funny because you ended up with an S there, and that is another ME for me that I noticed is that Schumann resonance is now Schumann ResonanceS. There's an S on the end of Schumann resonance now. Schumann and resonances, and I have never seen an S anywhere. And now, like, you will see it if you look at like 10 things. Like 2 of them will have an S on it. And if you go to the wiki, it's Schumann resonances now. That's I was actually Now a lot of people also remember Schumann as having only one N originally. M-A-N, not M-A-N-N, resonance. So if I just put it with no S, Schumann resonance, like I remember it, and I type in wiki, see what we get. Ooh, computer is so slow right now. All right, so I type in Schumann resonance wiki, and I get Schumann ResonanceS wiki. Look. Number 2 was Schumann ResonanceS Simple English Talk. Schumann ResonanceS Wikipedia. The 4th one has it as I remember it. Is a spectrum peak in the Earth's electromagnetic field spectrum, excited by lightning discharges. So these lower down ones have the no S, but the wiki says it's a set of spectrum peaks in the extreme low frequency portion of the Earth's electromagnetic field. Spectrum. So here it's a set of spectrum peaks, but here in the Rational Wiki, it's a spectrum peak. So, interesting. But anyway, this resonances thing has popped up, and it looks like it's on its way to taking over. I mean, I can't say that I totally understood this to start with. I kind of do. But now that it's like, now they're saying different things, so now I'm like more confused again. How could I send ME stuff to your website? One good way would be to just post it in the comments to this video, because I do, if it's already up somewhere, then I can just link it. Otherwise, you can send it to, what is that email again? It's onceuponatimeline@yahoo.com. Now, I have to warn you, I am pretty slow about checking that, but I will try to check it more. Hopefully, I will actually do it if I'm expecting things. I actually contacted this Russian guy asking for MEs, so I've been kind of checking to see if he ever answered. Hasn't yet, but he had a video on MEs and Russian MEs. I'm like, well, can you tell me some of them? Right on the Plains, we'll be doing interview with her sons in a couple of weeks. Yeah, we get people asking if children see it from time to time, and I've seen enough videos on children seeing it. One that sticks out was a child had learned the word for turmeric, which was turmeric, and then she was kind of PO'd. She was not happy when it turned to turmeric, because she knew it was turmeric. I don't know. I think kids are like, they're working so hard to learn anything. It's like she was peeved that they switched it up on her after she, it's like they made her be wrong when she worked so hard on it. They, whoever they are. Did I watch the movie? No, I haven't. I have not had time to do much. I've been doing the website, work, this, and I haven't been doing the dishes, haven't been cleaning the house. Need to start cleaning it for Christmas visitors. The whole place is disaster. Hopefully I'll watch that thing. The lion will lay down with the lamb, not the wolf. Yeah. I think that it's the lion will dwell with the wolf now. All right, so on to the next things. I do actually have a lot of things. See if I can plow through some of them. Oh, okay, so this one was one. This is a personal ME for me. Quite a number of years ago. I think it was about 3 years ago. It was not long after I learned of the ME that the police. I remember the police lights being red, blue, and yellow. And all my life, they were red, blue, and yellow. I'm pretty sure, or at least a really long time. I mean, I don't remember in the 1970s, but I really remember them being red, blue, and yellow flashy lights. And what happened around 3 years ago was that there was a flashing blue and reds up ahead of me. You kind of keep an eye open if there's police, because they might have blocked the road or they put up barriers or whatever, and you don't always want to deal with it. So you notice, okay, there's police stopped and flashing way up there. So I saw the blue and reds. I'm like, well, that's not the police, because there's no yellows, because I know that they always had yellows. And I get up there and it was the police. I'm like, that's weird. I remember there being yellows. And then the next police I saw was yellows, and for like a week I didn't see any. There was no yellows for and so finally I looked it up. I'm like, what the hell? I remember it being yellows. So I looked up the police colors for the flashing lights, and it was always, then it's red and blue. There was never about any other colors. Nothing. Red and blue were the colors. And every place I looked, it just said red, blue. I'm like, at that time, I really didn't trust myself fully. And I was like, well, maybe I'm remembering it wrong. I don't know. I was afraid to really stick my neck out, because I hadn't heard anybody else say it. I didn't even have a YouTube channel then. So today, this is the first day. I drive at night a lot, because by the time I get out of work, sometimes it's like really late. So today I'm driving and I see blue, red, and yellow flashing lights. And what do I say to myself? I say, that can't be the police, because police in this timeline only have red and blue lights. So I wonder who that's going to be. So I get up there and I look, and it's the police. The police had red, blue, and yellow. A big bunch of yellow. More yellow than I remember, in a big strip. I was like, what? All right, so then I come home, and I was just doing this like right before the live stream, and I'm hunting down the official rules. And so California vehicle code, blah, blah, blah. Amber flashing warning lights are to be used when peace officers are enforcing an order of the court in a county with a population of more than 250,000. California Vehicle Code section, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, I can tell you that all the towns I've lived in have all had more than 250,000. I tried to figure out what this is, order of the court in a county. I think that just means like doing their police business. Anytime they're pulled over, and they could be a traffic hazard. Basically, anytime they're pulled over, they're supposed to have, along with the red and blues. So they're supposed to have their red and blues, but they have to have amber. So that's what I'm seeing now. It's the reality now. My amber flashing lights are back. They're like basically yellow, but so weird. So weird. So, I mean, it's a tiny little thing, but I don't know. I just pay attention to the police, and I can't keep up. And so that one has been a solid red and blue for like 3 years now. So I'm really laughing that flipped back. So now I'm quite confident that I was right the first time. I mean, I was fairly confident, but I know for a fact. I'll be keeping my eye open for more police, but I have not seen one in 3 years, and now it's the law, and I had checked that. So definite Emmy for Eva. All right, police lights. Did you? All right, this one is from Catnap. So we had a bird called the phoenix now. That used to be just, well, I can't swear there was no bird but called the phoenix. But as far as I know, it was just mythological. All right, it doesn't catch on fire, burn to ash, and then rise. At least not yet in this timeline. But it is a nice looking bird. Hold on. This bird, known as the red phoenix. God, phoenix looks weird. Phoenix. All right, close enough. So it's a very pretty looking bird. This bird, known as the red phoenix, his majestic appearance will make you feel fascinated. So of course it's like super endangered. Expect that to change. Many tourists from all around the world that travel to China would choose to visit the village just to see one thing, the rare red phoenix bird. Rather known as the golden pheasant, attracted a lot of photographers and bird lovers. All right, so there they are. See why they're called phoenix. Very beautiful birds. I'm guessing that this is the female and this is the male. Look at that. Look at how they're, that's really cool. Anyway, they're just really, really pretty. I have not seen these yet. I don't know, is that snowing? Never seen such bright birds in the snow, too. You know, it used to be that these bright animals were in like tropical countries. And now that I think about it, I don't know why, but not anymore, apparently. Anyway, very beautiful looking bird. I'm waiting to see if they like have anything to do with fire later or something in another few shifts. It is the only bird with golden hair, thus making it unique and very impressive. What do you mean by golden hair? You mean golden feathers, or does it actually have hair? Mountainous forests of western and central China. It is a famous ornamental bird in China and many countries. I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of this thing? Because I don't think I've ever seen these things before. To me, the only word that phoenix was a mythological creature. I've never heard of any really studly looking actual ones. So many pretty birds in this timeline. It's really hard to even try to keep track of them. All right. Got that one. All right. Look at the scraps. Okay, this one was actually one I was supposed to do the other day, and I lost my notes. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I'm trying to remember if I covered this one like really long time ago. Sarsaparilla. How do you spell sarsaparilla? Do you remember the drink sarsaparilla? How is that spelled? Sarsaparilla. I'm going to, while you guys think about that, I'm going to see what you guys have been up to. I will pay the $13 website fee for you. I'm serious. All right. If somebody makes it's a month. It's a month though. It's not just like for it's not a one-time deal. It's a per month. But if somebody wants to put that on my Patreon, then I will. So the only thing it'll do is that when you type in Mandela Effect research.com, and then when you go to the WWII website, it will continue to say Mandela Effect research.com in the URL. Right now, if you do it, hopefully it doesn't care about capitals. So I type in Mandela Effect research.com, and it'll say that at first, and then it'll forward you, and it'll say K9K9K9 wixsite.com, the Mandela Effect. I guess that's part of my email or something. I'm not sure where they got that from. It'll jump to there instead of still saying MandelaEffectResearch.com. So that's the only thing the $13 would do. I think there's one or two other things I could do. Actually, let me look that up. Wix payment plans. Wix pricing information. If people want to set up a website, I do recommend Wix. I've been pretty happy with it so far. And then I can make changes and then just click publish, and it just takes like 30 seconds, and then that change is live, and you can do that all day long. All right. I get a little bit more bandwidth, a little bit more storage, connect your domain. I'm not sure, but I think this might also fix that thing that if you use HTTPS, I think you won't get that certificate warning thing. Removes the ads. That could be nice. I get 30 minutes of video. I don't know what this means. Free domain for 1 year. They give me a domain. Maybe I can get a domain for a year. So that's $13. And I don't think there'd be any point in doing this other stuff. Advertising. I can't. This is more for like, I just don't really see the point of advertising. Basically, I think if it's a good website, we'll get around it. If it's not, it won't. So there's not a lot here for these other ones. I would just get that one. I mean, you can always upgrade, downgrade, blah, 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 blah. All right, so that's all the $13 would do. Not that big a deal. All right, let's see. Was I looking on here? Why the extra? Yes. Yeah, see, it's saying it's peaks in the resonances versus one peak, and that's the S for the Schumann now. Resonances. There was no sign anywhere of an S before, and now it's on the wiki. And I know I've looked at the wiki before. SMQAI talked about the black spots on the Schumann, and he pointed out how on one of the black spots was a very faint line, so he thinks they are not black holes, but actually dips in the Schumann. Yeah, see, that's weird because shouldn't like the people who take the data, I mean, okay, so they're monitoring the Schumann, and then they don't have any comment in a giant black area? Like, shouldn't they go on there and say, oops, my machine was down, or I don't know. It's just weird. Is it still the same frequency? I don't know that. See, the frequency keeps changing, and then you have to keep it in your mind, I think, because if you remember it a certain way, but now, like next year, you go back and look at it for today, it may be different than what you remember today was, because you know how the Mandela is. So I'll tell you, I don't remember Schumann resonance. Now I'm saying it. Schumann resonance being around for more than about 5-6 years. I've never heard of it, like 10-15 years. Never heard of it. I do remember first it was like, hey, did you know that the Earth has a resonance, right? And that went around for like 6 months, and maybe a year. And then after that, suddenly there was it's called the Schumann resonance, and it just had like a number, and it's blah blah blah, and I think it was like 5.6 or something, and it didn't really mean that much to me. And then suddenly there was all this tracking and this and that, and it was known forever, and it kind of just basically came out of the woodwork for me, the whole concept. So. And the other thing, when you say, is it the same frequency? People were saying the frequency was getting higher. Oh, it was this, now it's that. And they said it was higher, like the number got higher. I think it was like somewhere around 5 something, and they were saying it was 7 something. I'm not sure what history will say it is now or was. I haven't, for a while I kept hearing about the Schumann resonance is rising. I wonder if they're still saying it. Get rid of that caps lock. The Schumann resonance is rising. They were saying, oh, it's rising, it's rising. Is the Schumann resonance increasing and rising? There are and have always been 8 different Schumann resonance frequencies. No. So if the Schumann resonance, fundamental Schumann resonance, is truly rising, and it isn't, all right, so there's more Mandela for me, because there was only one, and it was freaking rising. Everybody was saying, oh my God, what does this mean? Does it mean the Earth's this? Does it mean the Earth's that? Is it no, bug me. In response to a recent Facebook post in which it was claimed that the Schumann resonance was indeed rising, I posted the following respectful comments. See, now, there was only one, and they would give the number. They go, now it's this number, and it was this number, and such year it was that number, and they would give out the numbers. They weren't just claiming it was rising. So now there's 8 of the dang things. If the resonance frequency were changing, it would mean the physical geometry of the Earth's ionosphere cavity was changing. The frequencies can do change temporarily due to solar storm events, which affect the ionosphere shape and conditions, but they return to their base frequencies when they settle down. No. That is not how it was. All right, very interesting. Okay, so I guess it can't be rising anymore, according to this, but it definitely was before. Now it is just an old wives' tale already, and that isn't even that long ago when it was supposed to be rising. Those who say it is are ignorant, or misinformed, and parroting the mistakes, lies of other. Though it varies between geographical regions, for decades their overall measurement has remained 7.8 cycles per second. Now, it was like 5 something before, they were saying. I mean, it's not like I can test it myself, so I don't know. All right, so let's see. What'd you guys say about sarsaparilla? I've written this before, too. My kids are adults and see some effects. They don't count if they're adults already. They're talking about kids like, 10 or something. I don't know why people would think they would be immune to it. I mean, some of them, they're not old enough to know the old way, but red, blue, and white for me, red and blue. Okay, current timeline for the police lights is, it does vary by state. So definitely look up the rules for your state. But the rules for my state said it always should have been yellow the whole time, because I've always lived in an area with more than 250,000 residents. Dope. I don't know why it jumps like that. I'm working so hard to simply exist and figure out what's changed on the everyday existence in the ME. You know, when I first learned of the ME, I tried to keep track of them all. I thought I was just gonna, I don't know, I guess I thought it would be small enough that I could have them all in my head. And then I kind of got really, really frustrated at some point. And finally I had to realize I'm just not going to be able to keep them all in my head. And I kind of let it go. I still kind of try to keep up on it as much as I can. But there's ones, and then, you know, there's ones that go back in time and change. And so even if you knew every one, like I felt like 3 years ago, I just knew every Mandela there was. I'd read them all. But now if I go back 3 years ago videos, some of those I've never heard of, you know, and even on channels, I watched every one of their shows and that wasn't on there. So it really undercuts you. You will never know them all because even the past changes. Eva has jumped in time on screen. Did you see that? Huh. Actually, that's kind of weird. I mean, there should be buffering in between. I mean, I might freeze and it might buffer and then I'll jump, but I shouldn't just jump like live. Unless you've somehow gotten behind, like if you pause the stream and then you come back and so you're not live anymore, you're like 2 minutes behind or something, then you might see it. I think it'll jump over any buffering. So you might see that. So make sure you're 100% live. You're like on the most recent. Because I've done that before by mistake where I'll pause it to like go get some soda or something. And then I'll come back. And then everybody's, you know, like everybody's got on the chat is like, what? He hasn't even said that yet. You know, what are they talking about? And then I realize I'm like, oh, I'm behind. Birds aren't allowed fur. Yeah, that's a good question. Do birds have fur in this timeline? Let's just check it out. Are there any birds with fur? Birds do not have any fur or hair or fur. Instead, they have feathers. Are there any birds with hair? Birds have hair and they're called rictal bristles, which are hair-like feathers that occur mostly around the base of the bill. They are not confused with the hair of animal. So apparently it sounds like they've got it worked out. So they can look like hair, but they're actually rictal, whatever they said. Whatever they said, it was something. Rictal feathers, bristles. Yeah, so that's kind of a thing this timeline likes to do. It looks almost identical to the other thing, but oh no, it's different because we have this label that says it's bristles. It's not hair. This timeline loves that stuff. It's not really a coral reef because it's this much different than a coral reef. And these aren't really coral because they're this much different than coral. So when you think there was never coral there, there was never coral there because this thing is that much different. So it's not actually coral. That's one of the big ME strategies to keep you not noticing and writing it off. Oh, okay, got it. It's not really coral. Someone was keeping track of how many Mandela effects there are to majority of us, suggesting over 7,000 Mandela effects. So memory good. Yeah, you know. Well, some of them, like I'm like I didn't know about those anyway, so I can't really comment. And on our channel Recon, we were trying to keep track of it, and it just got insane. I think that the person who was doing it kind of dialed back and maybe just put some of the bigger ones on, because I think we all kind of thought like it would end, or that it would stay at a rate we could kind of keep an eye on, but it just got crazy. It just, there's no time, no one's going to read through that. And then you'd go back, I'm like, I don't remember that one even being on there, because the past would change. It's just like you can just, man, your brain will explode. 7.5 to 7.8 like human pH, and how your pool acid should be reading. Oh, you're talking about the Schumann. Yeah, no, it was like 5 something before. I remember they're saying it used to be 5 something and now it's 6. Oh my God, now it's 7. And I was like, really? That does sound kind of amazing. I was actually pretty impressed with it for a while there. And then I stopped hearing about it. That's why I just looked it up now. I'm like, I don't remember hearing about it rising the last few years. Type in online frequency generator, and you have the best free app for frequent. Oh, binaural beats. That's actually kind of a good one to. Online frequency generator. Let's go to here. Oh, I could put it in right here. Tone generator. Generate pure tones. Online tone generator. Is that the thing? Online tone generator? Online tone and frequency generator. Yeah, I'm not sure which one we're talking about here. See, it to the top. I'm like trying to read it, and suddenly it just goes boop. And here's the thing, my other computer's doing it at the same time. So this is something that YouTube's doing. It makes sense how the ME makes myth and legend real. Yeah, a lot of stuff starts at rumors that sound fishy, like unrespectable sources. And then it starts in like movies and cartoons. All right, preliminal. That's how I remember it. Sarsaparilla. I knew it was a little weird. It was actually sarsaparilla, but we'd always call it sarsaparilla. But I do remember it sarsaparilla. That's what I wasn't. So what is it now? It was sars something like sarsa. I think it's sarsaparilla now, which is ridiculous. Sarsa. See, it's not just sass. It's not just sars. It's sarsaparilla. And that's like, no, it was not sarsaparilla. I mean, the thing's going to be like 50 feet long if it keeps adding this up, because it was like sarsaparilla, sarsasparilla. Sarsaparilla. And you know, I used to order this drink all the time when I was a kid, because there was a Farrell's, and I think they went bankrupt. Or at least the one near me closed. And I remember hearing they went bankrupt. Who knows if they did in this timeline. But yeah, they had sarsaparilla on their menu, and it was sarsaparilla. It was not sarsaparilla. Because as a kid, I would be like, ooh, I want a sarsaparilla. Nope. And nope. Let's see, what other ones? That was one. All right. What county is Area 51 in? That's the next question. And no cheating and looking it up. You have to go by memory. No cheating, no cheating. It does bling with SARS. Yeah, sarsasparilla. I don't remember it as sarsasparilla. Susan Gunther Photography does remember it like me. Sarsaparilla. We pronounce SARS here in Aussie, not SAS. But do you pronounce Sarsa? Sarsaparilla? Futuristic, missed the stream, not feeling well. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I wasn't feeling too good yesterday. And I took a whole bunch of medicine, antihistamines and stuff, and it seems like it kicked it back. So now if I feel like this, like I start to feel that throat tickle, I'm like pounding it. And it seemed to work because it kind of, I don't know what the, it just seems like, I don't know if it's some kind of autoimmune problem or what, but it doesn't really fit with any, anything I see online for any specific problems. The black bar phenomena only started in 2019. And see, there's all of those different, observatories. If one of them has a blackout, shouldn't they say, oh, we had problems? And shouldn't the other ones all cover for them? Or are the blackouts just, the black bars just in one station, but not the others? I mean, how does that work? Futuristic is and an angel. Got it. Last year for me, the Schumann equipment could only measure 40 to 60 to 40 to 60. Now it spiked at 158 a few days ago. I don't know if the equipment changed or other would call it going higher. Yeah, it's like so confusing. You kind of get your brain around it, and then it's like a whole nother thing all of a sudden. And I think that's part of it. Let me see. Did they have even a number for it now? What is Schumann? What is the current Schumann resonance? I used to see those all the time. Oh, it's this, now it's that. And there was like a number, like 7 point something or whatever. But I haven't seen that in a while. The beat atmospheric electromagnetic resonance frequency is 7.83. This means our atmosphere is continuously resonating with a radio frequency of 7.83, along with progressive weaker harmonics at 14.3, 20.8, 27.3, and 33.8. These are what is known as the Schumann resonance. These are what are known as the Schumann resonances. Okay. So it's 7.83, but it's sounding like they're saying that it never changes, because that other website was saying that this has to do with the geographic layout of the mesosphere or something like that. So the overall Schumann can't change now. All right. Just when you think you've got it learned, it's all different. $365 days now, 366 fourth year. I remember 364 and 365. I wouldn't be surprised, but for me, it's been 365 for the last, maybe 8 years. I can't tell you before that because I didn't really pay attention to it. One of the first effects that got me was in 2013 with the black circle around your eyes. Oh, yeah, that it's around the colored part of the eyes. The limbal ring. Yeah, I actually remember looking in the mirror and seeing that on my eyes, and this was quite a bit before I knew about the Mandela, and I like a couple years, like maybe 2-3 years, and I looked in there, and I'm like, I don't remember that ring around my eye, and I'm like, oh, I must really not be paying attention, but I do remember suddenly seeing it there and wondering how I didn't notice it there. All like my whole life, and somehow it made sense that I didn't. I just wonder how many people are smacking themselves up the head, frustrated, kind of weirded out, feeling totally out of sorts because things just keep changing and they keep going, oh, I thought it was this. Oh, I thought it was, because I was starting to get that way before I learned about the Mandela. I'm like, I swear this is spelled this way, and then it was this way. Then it would flip flop back. I'm like, no, I thought I did. And then I'm like, what the heck? I swear that, I was starting to really wonder. I'm like, is this just old age? Or do I have Alzheimer's or something? Then I'm like, oh, everybody else remembers the same thing. Okay. Whatever it is, it's catching. Blaze is feeling grumpy and PO'd. Trying to calm down. Did you have, like yesterday and today have been kind of sucky days. Especially yesterday. And Monday was terrible. Monday really sucked. Just all this irritating stuff at work and it's really just major inconveniences. Well, I don't know if it's inconveniences, but they affect my work and it kind of gets under my skin. And then a couple days later, I'm like, it's really not that big a deal and I'll just adapt. But right when it happens, it's like, I don't like it when anything interferes with efficient functioning of my business and, how I set things up. And it was bugging me. I just was like, Monday. And then a lot of stupid stuff happened on Tuesday, not as bad as Monday. And today, both, I have two computers so that if one has a problem at work, I'll have another one. So I have two computers and two printers. And so, of course, both of those start having problems at the exact same time. And then we had so much work to do. And I don't know. Somehow we survived. But it was just like, I'm so glad to go home and hope that tomorrow will be better. Oh, okay. I look back at it and go, it really wasn't worth stressing out over. I just try to keep that in mind. I always tell everybody, really, there haven't been very many Mandela effects that have been anything more than an inconvenience. But they still kind of irk me when they're an inconvenience. All right. All right, caught up with you guys. All right, so do you guys remember where Area 51 was? I don't know if you guys even answered that because it looks like according to that, you're still talking about sarsasparilla. Yeah, according to this one too. All right, so Area 51. Do you remember it being in Roswell, New Mexico? Because I sure do, and so does Troy Austin. Commented on the channel. Oh, no, wait, I think he was actually commenting on somebody else's channel. I just saw it. It was not in the video itself, but it was like so anyway, Troy Austin, good find. Area 51 was in Roswell, New Mexico, right? Right. That's how I remember it. Area 51 in Roswell, New Mexico. Where is Area 51? Doop, 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 doop. Located within the Nevada test and training range. See, I don't remember it being within a test and training range. It was out in the desert all by itself. Nobody knew if it was really even there. It was just kind of a closed off area. All right, so now it and see, this is another one. About 5 or 6 years ago is the first time I heard of Groom Lake. All of a sudden, Groom Lake this, Groom Lake that. I just assumed it was like an area that, I hadn't been paying attention to, but suddenly it was everywhere. Groom Lake, Groom Lake, Groom Lake. So apparently, Area 51 is by Groom Lake now. I figured they were all kind of around the same area, but I totally remember Area 51 being in Roswell. But now they're like separate things. There's Area 51 and there's Roswell. Let's see. Is located in the southern portion of Nevada. Dang it, where is it? Did I write it down? Ugh, I found it last time. Oh, this is interesting. The origin of the name Area 51 is unclear. It is believed to be from an Atomic Energy Commission numbering grid. Although Area 51 is not part of the system. No, they, in my old timeline, this number was like the military had numbering systems and they called it Area 51. It wasn't a mystery why it was called Area 51. All right, what? Let's try this. This one is another one I should have written down more or looked up in advance, but I didn't. UFOs, Roswell and Area 51. All right, so Rachel, Nevada is the area, the town near Area 51. All right, let me just do what county is. What county is... Why is this so hard? I did kind of look this up before, but I should have written it down. So now it's just located at Groom Lake in southern Nevada. But there was like the whole... Oh, you know what? It might help if I wrote county instead of country. Of course, now I can't find it. Lincoln County, that's it. So it's in Lincoln County. Area 51, which I've never heard of. Lincoln County. Area 51 is in Lincoln County. Your out of this world journey begins here in Lincoln County. Yeah, that was it. It was Lincoln County. I should probably write this down, but whatever. Not gonna happen. So anyway, yeah, no. Lincoln County. I think it's still in Nevada. Yeah, it's still in Nevada. It's just not in. It's just not in Roswell anymore. And that was the Roswell thing. It was in Roswell. Cook Monty remembers Roswell, New Mexico. Yes. Skook Strange World, David Cook, Russell Boyles. Oh yeah, Radar Mash had sarsaparilla. He did not have sarsasparilla. Ah, Dark Wolf remembers Lincoln County. Ah, there's where we vary on timelines. I even remember like the whole sentence. It was like Area 51 in Roswell, New Mexico. It was like a whole sentence. It was not and Roswell, New Mexico. It was in. I also remember the Area 51 being on the salt plain. Now it is not entirely on the salt plain. God, I just remember it being in this dirt region, to be honest. I don't remember it being on a salt lake, a salt plain. There was no salt, it was just like dirt. The whole overview now looks totally different for me. It was just like that brown dirt originally for me. I mean, that was a while ago, a really long while ago, but it just looks so weird now. Maps. Carla, red pill, $3.99. Thank you, appreciate it very much. Wait. Dum, da, da, da. What's up, Emmy family? All right, so we got let's just try overview images. I don't think they have much. That's more like what I remembered, but it wasn't this extensive. I mean, there was just like this little stinky road there. It wasn't all this. I don't remember this at all. I think that must be the salt plain. This actually looks like the land I remembered on, but there was no salt plain anywhere around. And they showed this top view from a distance, and you would see like nothing around for a long, long stretch. Look at that. I don't remember it being even half that built up. And I mean, it's just like this many buildings and then like one strip. That was all there was. This kind of dirt, common for the Southwest. That's kind of how I remember it. Huh. Well, I don't remember. Yeah, see that white, that's what freaks me out. I don't remember that at all. This whole area was just like dirt. Dirt, dirt, dirt. I don't remember any of this business either, actually. It was like smack in the middle of a whole bunch of dirt. And that's one of the things that kind of flips me out is this big white. I guess that's the salt plains. All right, so weird. The Salton Sea was new for me for several years ago. Well, I had it for like 15 years. It's been around, but it was way tinier. So, and maybe at some point it wasn't there. Would not surprise me at all. The history of it changed for me a few years ago. As suddenly now there was like all these, and this was never the case for me before. But Roswell boiled 1999. Thank you. That's a goodly sum. So I appreciate that. Salton Sea, a couple of years ago, suddenly has all these kind of things that happened in the past where there was all these boats and rich people and all this stuff with tourists there and stuff. And that was never in my old timeline. It was just too stinky a lake for anybody to enjoy, even back then. So in this timeline, the past, it was a better lake than the past of my original timeline. Oh my God, Scotland Ireland in England something, and then it jumps. I wish it would not do that. Being all together is such a trip. Yeah, and compared to Europe, it's way bigger, but I think Europe got way smaller, so it may not have grown. All right, next. What? Okay, I did that whole page. Yay! All right. When do you guys remember the first? So I remember before the International Space Station, and you kind of have to be a little bit old to remember back that far. I mean, if you're 20, you're not gonna be able to do it. But before the International Space Station, I remember America having a space station for a while. I mean, like a couple years at least. I mean, we didn't just go up there for 10 seconds and then not. And so how long do you remember? I've kind of given you away timelines I remember. But when do you remember us putting up the American space station, especially for Americans. I mean, I don't know. The rest of the world might have been watching. But so I remember the first space station was American, and we had it for a few years. And then we decided to just let that go to rack and ruin and put all our resources in this international one. And I thought that was weird at the time because, I mean, we're going in with it with Russia, and they're kind of our enemies and all this. And they're like, oh, well, we're putting all that aside for science. I'm like, since when does Russia put away their politics for science anyway? And, you know, since when do we trust each other and get along that well? It just was always weird. I'm like, I don't think it's a good idea. You know, no offense, Russia, but we don't get along. I just don't think it's a very good idea to go into business with Russia. But anyways, when do you remember our American one? I mean, no cheating now. When do you remember that thing being up? Assuming you remember it. Because, I mean, maybe you don't. But ooh, I got another $5 one somewhere. $5 from Futuristic. Thank you. That's Andon Angel. Appreciate that greatly. Andon is always very generous. As is QB and a couple other people who don't do super chats, but they do my Patreon. So I really appreciate that. Yes, I remember the Skylab falling. See, that one's weird for me. I don't remember it being called Skylab. That one kind of freaks me out. I remember Skylab being the name of a similar thing in like a science fiction show. I don't remember it being called Skylab. It was like the American Space Station or something like that. It was a big, long, blah, blah, space station. Something, blah, blah, space station. I don't remember it being called Skylab. That I thought that was in a movie. I did not think that it was ours. Okay, so you remember Skylab falling, late 70s. Yes, Eva, late 1980s, early 1990s. That's a lot closer to what I remember, what Carla Redpill remembers. I remember it around the 1990s, maybe. We gave up ours. Space Lab, I think, late 70s. Space Lab. Skylab was 72. There's like two timelines. There's these Skylab people, which I don't, and then Skylab was 70s. And then Carla remembers 80s, 90s. I remember Skylab falling. Post-Cold War. When did the Cold War end? Is that like that? That was like the 80s. Who knows if it's the same here, but we could try. 80s. Wasn't the Cold War 80s? Somewhere in the 80s it ended. 91. Oh, okay. 91. So post-Cold War. Yeah, I think it was. That makes sense, though, because I mean, why would we do an international space station with the Russians during the Cold War? It's not like I totally trusted them after the Cold War. I mean, who knows now? Maybe all this different countries stuff is all just baloney anyway, but I wouldn't worry about it now because I don't think any of that's worth worrying about anymore with the Mandela. The heck? All right, that one's totally crashed, so let's just go to, what happened to that one? Back to the live control room, people. Let's try over here. Zero Skylab in my timeline. Yeah, okay, interesting. So there's like two timelines. There's the Carla timeline, like me, no Skylab, and like, yeah, Dark Wolves 89. Okay, you're probably talking about the though. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there was a specific ending. There was like kind of a thawing period there. 80s defo. In the UK it was known as Skylab. Yeah, I just remember it being it sounded similar to International Space Station for me. It was something something space station, and they would say it all out. American Space Station would be abbreviated ASS. I don't think that's exactly it. It was like there was another word or two in there. Mir was 80s, 90s, but I think that was mostly Russian. Yeah, no, Mir was Russian. I'm talking about ours. But yeah, you have a good point. Let's see. Let's see if Carla Red Pill's the only... Okay, Skook Strange World, no Skylab. I assume you're old enough. You gotta be like... Darn you. You have to be pretty old to remember Skylab in this timeline. Because, see, that's the other thing. Skylab is so old that I should not remember any American space station. But I remember them saying they were going to do it, and then doing it, and then saying they were going to let it go and do the international one with Russia and other countries. And I was definitely old enough to really appreciate that that was a stupid sounding plan. So it couldn't really be... So I'm going to type in Skylab, because I could not find like the word I remember at all. Something American Space Station. So when was Skylab? Now you guys who actually remember Skylab have it about right. Occupied for 24 weeks. So, I mean, that's like, so what, there's 4 weeks? Less than a year. I mean, it was not... Why would you put up a freaking space station and then only hang out in it for less than a year? May 1973 to February 1974. Okay, I was so young then that there is no way that I would have much opinion on this. Not to mention thinking it was this and that was stupid and all that. I was too young. Too young. I was already like adult-like by the time this happened for me. 73, 74. Now you guys that remember Skylab are remembering this timeline. People who don't remember Skylab probably should have heard of it unless you're really young. Okay, so some people might be too young to remember. But you'd have to be kind of old. But I'm old enough that I should have... The thing is, I remember like them putting up the American one and all that. So, and it was later. It was like, yeah, around 80 something, later 80s, that kind of thing. I mean, it was a pretty big thing because it was the first space station ever. So even if you didn't pay attention to stuff, I mean, it was on the news all the time. We're putting up the first space station ever in the history of the world. So you can bet that we're trumpeting that. Our news is trumpeting that. It's the big snippety doodah, you know. I'm 48 and I don't remember the United States putting in a space station by themselves. That's interesting. The first United States space station launched by NASA. 3 separate 3-man crews during that time. Orbital workshop, solar observatory, Earth observation, and hundreds of experiments. Dun, dun, dun. I'm 48 and I don't remember. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't remember because you were like 1 or something then. I thought the first one was Russian. I don't know. Yeah, when did Mir go up? That's a good question. Maybe it wasn't the first one in the world, but it was our first one anyways. I don't remember a United States space station. Well, it was only like 2/3 of a year in this timeline. Wasn't the U.S. space station joined to the later Russian one to form the ISS? You know, I do remember some yammer about that, like parts of it being used. One thing I do not remember is it coming down. So I guess I thought it was still up there as junk until recently. I don't remember it crashing. I do remember them talking about using a piece of it. I don't know if they actually did, though, but I do remember them talking about it. So Skylab crashed in, was it 74, February of 74. Skylab before Mir. Okay, Skylab was before Mir. Okay, so it was the first one. American people, something is wrong with your president's chronology. You know what? That guy, I'm not even get started with that. I mean, not that I trust any of the sides. I don't really think that any of the sides are all innocent. They're politicians. They play the political game. I mean, some of them are more irritating than others, but... Skylab fell in 79. Interesting. Are you sure, Trip Fontaine? Because they're saying 74 in the current timeline. I'm getting rid of that error 51. I keep clicking on it. Sorry, Skylab and the Skynet sound like they're from the movie Avatar. I was thinking Skylab was from one of the science fiction ones. And I'm trying to remember which one it was. It's funny because I just really have the strong memory of it being a science fiction one. The map just changed a lot this week. Yeah, I don't know. I saw that Australian one. I probably should go over the whole thing, but... All right, so there's that one. Skylab, no. All right, the Capitol building. Remember in your mind what the dome looked like. This is in America, the Capitol building. There's already an ME there on what's on top of it, because a lot of us people, especially Americans, remember there just being kind of like a little stick antenna thing on there, and now there's this goofy statue thing. But the last time I looked at it with the purposes of pointing out this ME to somebody that wasn't familiar with it, because it's an older ME, I went to find an image of the Capitol building, and I'm like, that ain't it. Where is it? So, if I can type this properly. Capitol building bombed? I don't actually, let me just click on that. I don't remember that. State Senate bombing. Gosh, I'm not sure if I remember that or not. Okay. Well, let's just look at the Capitol building anyway. All right. So the current Capitol building. See if that picture is big enough to show. It should be. Doink. So that's the Capitol building. Up here is a picture of this goofy statue that people don't remember. And that's why I was looking for it. So I swear this statue looks weirder every time I look at it. Is that it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. I actually remember it looking uglier, and like the face was more kind of crude, and it was less refined. It actually looks less hideous now. It really was an ugly statue when I first saw it. It's got this goofy stuff on the head. I don't know what's up with all that. I'm sure if you looked it up, there'd be some explanation now. I don't remember that star on it actually either. Let's see if I can make it big. No, that would be asking too much. So yeah, this statue, guy probably should put that on the... That one's, yeah, it's way less ugly than it was. It's got all this fringe on. I don't remember like all that tons of fringe on there. There's that. I just don't remember all those stars like that. Weird. Okay. So anyways, but the overall shape of it, First of all, you can't not see that statue up there. But a lot of us remember like a straight stick. But I also, if you look at the shape, to me, this has changed a lot since the last time I looked at the dome. In fact, I think that since I last looked at this last week, it has changed, to be honest with you. Who found this? I think I found it. Somebody was asking about something else, and I looked up Capitol building, and I noticed. I don't even think that this goofy bit right here was on there last week, to be honest with you. I do not remember this. So I'm kind of freaked out. So I was doing this search. I'm like, that's not the Capitol building. And I extra know because I was researching the Capitol building for the last Emmy, and I know what it looked like then. Let me see if I can even find Capitol building art to see if I can find one that looks more like I remember. Now, last time we did the searches on the Capitol building, there were some advertisements and stuff that kind of showed the old Capitol building with just the stick. You can't find that anymore. I did not find any bits of it. Let's see. Now, last week when I did this search, I did find a few images that look more like I remembered. Let's try like logo or something. I did find something. Okay. Yeah, see, I think this has really changed even from last time I looked at it. It's kind of freaking me out. Yeah, no. It's this. That wasn't there last week. So now I'm really confident about this Emmy because I was just looking at it last week. Of course, now I'm not seeing the logo I saw last week. No. God, what a trip. All right, so looking at this thing, let's find a better picture. What I remember for the Capitol building is that it had a little bit of stuff down here and then a giant fat dome. The dome was way fatter. It was like as fat as this bottom section is, but it was all dome. And it wasn't this high. Now it's like a cake with a bunch of layers on it. I don't remember layer and then a tiny little dome and then another layer. It's like a wedding cake now or something. It used to be like this little bit of stuff on the bottom and then a giant big fat dome with like one stick. Like looked like an antenna or something. I don't know why I never asked what that stick was, but there was like a big pointy thing at the top and that was it. So it's turning into this layer cake thing. And this top whatever was not on there before. So I'm kind of flipping out over the Capitol building. I wonder if you lived across from it, would you be like flipping out? I don't know. Do any actual humans live across from it? Who knows? It says in the Bible, not a single thing won't be changed. I wonder what my new name is going to be. You know, there was somebody on there a while back that said they looked on their driver's license and saw their name was slightly different. And then somehow they were told that they'd gotten the wrong name or the driver's license name was printed wrong. Or anyway, they were flipping out. I don't remember the exact story, but... Also, Da Vinci never wrote backwards, and the proportions are wrong on the Vitruvian Man. Are you serious? Proportions are wrong on the... No way. That was totally not true. Oh, that is not. All right. They were like the epitome of rightness. The drawing represents ideal human body proportions. All right, let's type in Ron. The Da Vinci Vitruvian Man may not have been a flawless. The man was drawn to illustrate the perfect proportions of the human body, but the model himself may not have been in perfect health when a bit of intestine bulges. All right, I know that there's that funky abdominal hernia thing in this timeline. That one showed up a couple years ago. Right, they're still saying it represents ideal proportions. I can't imagine that he wouldn't notice that there was a. They're trying to draw the perfect proportions, but he puts in a giant hernia. That doesn't really make sense. All right, a new interpretation. Da Vinci was wrong. All right, new interpretation. Ugh. All right, so apparently I have to sign in to see that. Sometimes I can get around that by looking at the cached version. So let's do that. There we go. Nope. Not that time. All right, I'm going to go to this new interpretation and see what that is. Was made using the golden ratio. Dang it, I'm reading, but I'm not getting to it. I still can't get over those weird hip things that men have now. View image. These things, they're getting so... Those are like literally love handles. That used to be only flab there. It's like first love handles were just flab, but now they're muscle. That looks so wrong to me. Just so wrong. Just didn't have those. It's like, that just bugs me. All right. Anyway, back to the story. However, nowhere in the Vitruvian Treaty is there a clarification of the proportional system that establishes the relational factor between the square and the circle. Man, say that like 5 times fast. The situation has led to immense geometric and symbolic speculation in terms of the search for and definition of the rules that have guided Leonardo to drawing. You know, the drawing has changed so much in the way the circles and squares are different. So it makes sense to me now that now they don't get it. I mean, it used to be very straightforward. But I'm trying to remember how it was. See, it wasn't like this. And this has bugged me because I can't remember how it was. I know this is not right, but I can't. Like here where this square sticks out from the circle, it wasn't like that. Everything was all symmetrical. The feet were symmetrical. There was more arms. One side of his face looks totally different from the other side of his face now. And that has... just intensified since I saw it a while back. And there was kind of a more symmetry here where how this, it just bugs me. I can't remember. But even last time I looked, these corners here were not sticking out of the circle. So it's just weird. It just keeps changing. So I don't know. I didn't find a lot on the Vitruvian then. But yeah, it looks like it's in process of being like wrong, reinterpreted. Who the heck knows? All right, so I call Mandela on this dome. That does not look right. David Cook, I remember the flag. Yeah, I do. I think I do remember a tiny pendant flag on the top, like a triangle flag. I hope that's what you remember. But it was, but most of the time I just saw it as a stick. Maybe they just flew the flag once in a while. Okay, you guys are talking about food and drinks making me hungry, especially that bacon part. Although bacon doesn't taste as good as it used to, which is not making me happy. I don't think it's the bacon. I think it's me. God, I used to think I was in seventh heaven when I ate a piece of bacon. It's just not as much anymore. It still smells really good. But then when you bite it, I'm like, oh, it's still good, but it's not like it used to be like seventh heaven. Does anyone remember a quirky, popular 1980s sci-fi movie called Robo-Trap? No, I do not remember that one. And I kind of was up on most of the sci-fi because there wasn't that much of it back then. So yeah, the stick might have been like a flagpole. The thing about the stick was it looked pretty fat, and it wasn't real tall. And I don't remember any big flags being ever. I never saw any big square flags on there. Robotrap was as popular as Xanadu. Never heard of it. Definitely heard of Xanadu. Anyway, there was definitely no giant weird statue up there. I hope I get some Marilyn Monroe proportions and backwards age, about 10 years. You know, I brought it up before, but the average age, survival age, increases about the same rate as my actual age. So I'll be like perpetually middle-aged at this rate, or something like that, because it keeps boosting up. I get a year older, the average age boosts up another couple years. Yes, oh my God, the circles and squares are so different. It took me 3 months to recreate it. Well, you know what? Shoot me an image if you have the original, because I would love to see it. It's making me crazy because I can't remember. And of course, many of us remember the 3 arms and 3 legs, and they were all symmetrical. The legs all stuck out to the side. They weren't like this. One of the feet is like out of the circle now. No, that ain't right. Check out the legs on that statue. Dupe. Statue. The legs. Let's see if we can find the legs. Oh, yeah, I don't remember this super ugly pedestal either, actually. See, that was the statue. But now it's on this ugly pedestal. I'm sorry if somebody likes it, but to me that's really ugly. Yeah, I don't remember it being on that ugly pedestal. Now it's even like bigger because it's on this giant ugly pedestal. It was kind of goofy before because it just kind of sat up there by itself, but now it's got this new layer, and then it's got a giant ugly pedestal. Who puts a pedestal that's that? I don't know. You can tell I love that pedestal. The beautiful pedestal. E pluribus unum, I would guess it says on there. Interesting. That is not anywhere near what I remember the Capitol building. You know, when that statue first came on there, you could still find logos with a stick on it. Ooh, this one is a little closer. This is a little closer. See how fat the dome is on that? Now just sink it down and make it a little wider. But this dome is like way fatter than I think the whole thing has all right, that's still pretty close. Not really seeing the fat dome anywhere though. All right, so yeah, Majorly. All right. Oh, yeah. I got distracted by that ugly pedestal and I forgot to look at the legs. I don't know. It's like this giant bunchy dress thing. All right, maybe that one. That must be a copy because it's not on there. It looks like she's poking out her knee and this maybe she's like got one knee in front of the other and it's sticking out the dress part. Then there's all this weird fringe. All right, here, this one might help. There's all this weird fringe and stuff on it. She's got this sword thing, whatever that is. Yeah. Like little circular spheres everywhere. Look at that. So like this pedestal thing is bigger than the statue now. All right, I'm flipping out. All right, I got to just, sometimes I see a new ME, I just want to sit and go, look at that, look at that. Right, food doesn't taste as good. Yeah, I don't know. People say that we're heading towards like a time when we won't eat. And I think they're like forcing us to not like it. It's driving me nuts. I miss food. Yeah, because it was like one of those things where you could sit down and have a certain amount of pleasure eating good food. And now it's like, nah. It kind of goes through phases because like food won't taste good, then it'll taste better, then it won't. There was a time when I'd have a day when food tasted amazing, like the old way, for like half a day, and then I would go back. But it's been a long time since I've had that, so it bums me out. It does help if you don't eat anything for like over 24 hours. Sometimes food will taste better, but not always. Sometimes that won't work at all. But generally, the times when it tastes better are the times when I'm like super hungry. Not always, though. So I can't find any real 100% patterns at all. Elon Musk showed up out of nowhere for me several years ago. Yeah, you and me and a lot of people. Fat dome, cringy legs. Okay, somebody remembers the fat dome. Because it was really bugging me, and nobody else seems to really have an opinion. I mean, some people are just like, oh, maybe I remember that. They don't remember. They're not sure it's the same. They're not sure if it's different. I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I tend to notice proportions. There's certain things I notice more than everybody else, and some things that I notice way less. But it kind of sucks when you're trying to get corroboration because nobody pays attention to the same things you do. You're not going to get any corroboration. Come back here. When I was on amphetamines, food tasted better, maybe because I was hungry. I take mild stimulants like ephedrine, and they haven't helped anything taste good. They don't seem to hurt. I kind of lose my appetite a little bit on them, actually. Food tastes the same, but I have less drive. It's a common side effect of stimulants in general for a lot of people. But food, it doesn't seem to actually affect the taste of food, but it kind of affects how much I really crave. Like, I just like, I'll eat later. Amphetamines made you hungry. That's interesting. Well, actually, I don't really... I've never been on any of the hard stimulants. I'm kind of a little bit like... I don't know. I might have a little bit of narcolepsy or something. I totally match all the symptoms. But the test for it is like really expensive and my insurance won't cover it. So I just get the over-the-counter stuff. It works pretty good. And if you got to get like expensive medicines that cost a fortune, and then you have to beg for them if you want a couple extra weeks because you're going on vacation, forget it. They won't let you get a refill until you got like only a few pills left. It's like you're a slave. It's ridiculous. I mean, they said they're doing it to cut back on like people stealing opiates and stuff, but they do it for everything. Even if you've got asthma or some medicine that nobody wants or steals or cares about other than the sick people who actually need it, you still can't get a refill in it. You can't. Used to be when I was younger, if you were going on vacation, you just asked your doctor for an extra month's supply and then they would write out the script. Yeah, they Broncaid is a good way to get ephedrine easily. Yeah, that's how I get it. Broncaid. Broncaid is it. Now, for a while there, Broncaid had more ephedrine than did Primatene Mist, but lately they're all the same. And I haven't been able to figure out if one of them changed or it's just a Mandela effect. I wasn't able to find any information on any changes, so maybe it's just different in this timeline. I don't know. But the Broncaid, anyway, that's the last I checked, which was like a month ago. The Broncaid is cheaper, so I just get that. Take your caffeine with your ephedrine with caffeine and a baby aspirin. Yeah, it does. It does work better, but I don't want to be a caffeine addict. So what happens if I do that a couple times? You need less ephedrine if you take the caffeine. I skip the aspirin. It doesn't seem to do anything. For me personally, I don't notice whether it's in there. I totally notice if it's a caffeine. The caffeine is like a reuptake inhibitor, so it'll basically cause the ephedrine to last a lot longer. So I save the caffeine for certain days when I really need a little extra kick. When I take the caffeine, the ephedrine lasts longer, which is also nice. So that's like Wednesdays are definitely a caffeine day. I play pickleball in the morning, then I got to work all day, and then I got to come back here and get ready for the live stream, and then I'm here at 2 o'clock in the morning live streaming. So yeah, I don't have asthma anymore. Not sure exactly. I gave it up. Yeah, the ECA stack. Actually, that's how I learned about the ephedra, sort of. But I used to take Bronchied because I actually had asthma, and so I was very familiar with it. So when I heard the ECA stack, I'm like, well, I already know how I basically respond to ephedra. But I used to take it all the time because I had asthma, so I didn't really like be on it and not on it. I didn't know about the caffeine. Then I never was on it for years because I had kicked the asthma. And the way I did that was to stop eating like 98% of the wheat that I ate. But, you know, weirdly now I can eat more wheat and I don't get asthma. But I do kind of like my stomach gets mad. So I don't know. I don't know. There's been a lot of shifts since I had asthma. So yeah, you can still get your ephedrine, but they got all panicky because everybody was doing the ECA stack, and so you're not allowed to sell them as an ECA stack anymore, and you're not allowed to sell them as a weight loss pill or anything that you can still get them all. You just have to, buy your caffeine pill separate from your ephedrine pill, and the ephedrine pill is sold as an asthma pill. That's all. So if you really want it, it's no big. I just, ephedrine makes me feel like a normal person. I don't feel jittery. I just feel kind of not sleepy, which is nice. All right. Oh, this one. This one is really weird. I probably should have put this one earlier, but as you can see, I'm totally disorganized. All right. This one flipped me out. This is probably one I should have pulled a video of. Dawn Isis. I'll go to see if I can find the original. There it is. All right. This was not in my old time. The eye structure I've mentioned before has changed a lot for me. I saw this thing and I'm like, really? So apparently in this timeline, is it the lens? The lens can get like partially detached. Now in my old timeline, you would be like blind if your lens was doing this, and if it was partially detached, you'd be blind at least in part of the eye. I think it's the lens. I'm gonna have to look that up again. Let me just look that up really quick. Wiki. Now the wiki was like 10 seconds last I checked. Let me see if there's anything more on the wiki. Before I show you the freak out. You know, my last like 5 videos have all been tagged not for all audiences. Even though I was so careful on the last video of what I said and didn't say, I mean, there were those weird sponge, whatever the heck they are, sea creatures, and that was it. So this video, there is nothing that has anything to do with adult whatever subjects. So if I get tagged on this time, I'm gonna really be upset. And I didn't even fight the last one because I lost the last bunch of fights, which I never have lost. Every time I disputed, I won, but I lost several of them in a row. So I don't want to keep disputing it because I'm not sure if that'll hurt me if I falsely dispute it. All right, iridodonesis is the vibration or agitated motion of the iris. Okay, it was the iris, not the lens. The iris. Of the iris motion. So your iris vibrates. Oh, okay, it is the lens. This may be caused by lens subluxation, the incomplete or partial dislocation of the lens. So it was lens. Or by aphakia, the absence of a lens. Now, I do remember you could remove the lens, but I do not remember the lens like just being able to be loose and like wiggling in your freaking eye. I do not remember that. So now, yes, this can wiggle around. So this person turns their eye this way and that, and their whole eye inside the whole area is like, it's totally freaky. Totally. The other thing I did was I changed my videos. I used to call them education, but I changed it to like science. Well, maybe they'll be more forgiving on the science. Okay, so this guy, let's see if the M girl move. Doop, doop, doop. So I hope you can see this, but as he turns his eye is like in there. He's literally got like Google eyes. The whole iris looks like it's going. This is a pretty good example of it, but there's other ones online, like on YouTube and stuff. But yeah, no, that is just totally insanity. If you can't see it good on here, look it up. It's iridodonesis. Just do a Google, do a YouTube search. YouTube is great because you'll get the videos. You got to get the videos. You have to see it move. People are joking. Runny yolk eye. It's just, I don't know. Freaky. Just look it up. It's freaky. Oh, I do have an ME on meth. Speaking of meth. My asthma didn't go Houdini for me. Yeah, I had to give up weed, though. I mean, like, I gave up all weed for, like, weeks, and then later I figured I could eat, like, just a tiny bit once in a while. The longer I went without weed, the more I could eat without it coming back. But now my stomach will hurt or something if I eat too much wheat. I don't get the asthma back. Yeah, asthma was horrible, and I had it, like, a pretty, like, moderate and sometimes severe, and I never enjoyed exercise. I used to have to fight through it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't because I always had to stop. My limit was always breathing. Let's put it that way. There was a point where I couldn't get enough air, so I had to run slower or whatever. Now my limit is actually my muscle strength, which it took me actually a while to get used to that. So conditioning and muscle strength are now my limit. And at first it was confusing because I wondered why I was going slower. I mean, sounds ridiculous, but I was like, well, I can breathe fine, so why can't I run over there? Because my muscles were tired, but I had never really reached that point where I was just going on muscle fatigue. So it took me a while to realize that I wasn't lazy. It was just that my muscles were tired and they weren't listening, which sounds like insane, but I had not been used to it. Now I'm used to it because it's been like a number of years. Sure, mail me some ephedrine, Cali girl. I think you can still get that. I don't know. Is there statewide rules on it? I'd have to check. I don't know. There might be rules about mailing it. I do see it online sometimes, but it's really expensive. But so basically in Cali, you go into the pharmacy and it's behind the counter, and then you got to give them your driver's license and stuff. And the reason that they do that actually is ephedrine can be made into meth if you cook it just right. So these like people go in and they buy as much ephedrine as they can, and then they sell it to like the meth people. But yeah, I'll just stick with the more mild stuff. Thank you. So like the limit for ephedrine, I looked it up, and I can get like with the current milligrams, I can get like 13 pills a day for the whole month, and I take nowhere near that many, so I'm good as long as they don't change the limits. I think it takes a lot of pills to make the meth. I don't think you can just get like a couple of pills. They have to collect a lot. So it's the same reason Sudafed's behind the counter. At least that's the storyline. Is I think they like Sudafed better, but they'll take what they can get, I guess. I don't know. Ephedra made me sick, but the synthetic ephedrine was fun. You know, I only ever used the synthetic. I was using it long before ephedra became a thing because they just sold it as asthma pills, and I had asthma, so it was just like obvious. My bronchitis and COPD went away after I started vaping 5 years ago. Yeah, see, I kind of wonder, how much was, I needed an excuse for it to go away, but maybe the ME was actually behind it. I mean, the lung structure is totally different now. The atmospheric elements with all that nitrogen is different. Lungs have to be so different now. It's not the good meth that President Kennedy had every morning to get out of bed into his wheelchair. Not too many people know about that. Yeah, see, that was kind of my ME that I'm going to get to one of these millennias here in this stream. Is I don't remember meth going back that far. Meth, I thought it was a new drug in my lifetime, and fairly recent, but that's not the case anymore. I should probably jump to that in a second. Also, no, ephedra works way better for meth. Yeah, I'm not an expert on it, but interesting. I mean, you can buy the ephedra grass bits, like the pieces of the grass, online. And actually, they do grow it around here. I've been out in the desert and seen the plants. It just looks like a big bunch of sticks. It's been a while since I've seen them, but there's been times when I've been hiking around and saw the plant. And I probably should nab some of it next time that happens. And I got a little bit online, and I was thinking of trying it in a tea, and I never got around to it. It's still around here somewhere. Okay, the Mormon tea one is really weak, though. I think you have to get a different one. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look into that again. I think the Mormon tea, you got to brew a lot. You only get a little bit of kick. Yeah, the Hitler dope. That thing showed up. When did that show up? Like 5 or 6 years ago, when they started to say that Hitler was on cocaine. Okay, he was a cocaine addict. They started saying that. That came kind of out of. I'm now really suspicious about it because I never heard boo, and then it was like everywhere. Latest I heard was he was on cocaine and another drug, and I'm like, no. He was only on cocaine for years, and now he was on Hitler, that's another one. I could go on forever. Hitler, cocaine. There was another thing. And opiates. But they said it was, I think it was like OxyContin or something. It's like a totally new one that I don't remember being even around back then. Cocaine, I thought that was more like, those times were more like opium. I just don't remember cocaine going that back. I guess it could have. But then when they said it was like, lately they've been adding this second one, which was, I think it was oxycodone. I just don't remember that. Oxycodone. Yeah, they said he was hooked on cocaine and oxycodone. I don't remember oxycodone being in the mix until like just this week, that suddenly it was oxycodone. Then called Eucadol, and I don't remember that word at all, Eucadol. So, I could accept opiates, cocaine and opiates, but I do not remember oxycodone, and now it is oxycodone. I just don't remember that word ever being used. All right, so the other thing is, now they're saying that meth goes way back. I'm going to jump ahead. Invented in 1887. Very popular in use in World War II. So meth goes way, way back now. And Nazis weren't the only one using meth. I don't remember Nazis using meth. Otherwise known as crystal meth. I just remember that crystallized version being invented in my lifetime. Like they had learned to crystallize it, so it was much more powerful. Has been well documented during recent years in books like Blitz, Drugs in the Third World. Where did it go? I love to see these titles. They assume you knew that Nazis were using meth. So they act like you already know that, and you don't want to feel like an idiot. So, oh yeah, I knew that. Nazis weren't but now we're going to tell you about the other one. So they slipped that right in there, like everybody knows Nazis were using meth. No, I don't remember anything about Nazis using meth. That Secret History is airing tonight on PBS show Secrets of the Dead, with an episode titled World War Speed. Okay, books like Blitz, Drugs in the Third Reich. But did you know that Nazi soldiers, British troops, and even American military personnel used speed as well during World War II? So why wasn't there like a big meth epidemic with all those people coming back World War II, all meth heads? I mean, there should be a whole bunch of meth heads coming back, and there wasn't. Now, I definitely remember Vietnam, people were coming back, but it wasn't meth they were addicted to. They were addicted to like, what was it? I'm going to have to ask my friend what he was. It was marijuana, of course. And it was like, I don't know, ones you've heard of, like 60s drugs, and meth was not one of them. The Nazi version of speed was called Pervitin and was available over the counter in Germany in the 1930s before it was given to soldiers. America's version, known as Benzedrine, could be found in U.S. pharmacies before the country entered World War II. See, I remember cocaine being back in kind of early history, Coca-Cola. Now I'm looking back at the whole story. I'm like, when did I learn that Coca-Cola once had cocaine? I mean, it was definitely not anything I'd heard until about 15 years ago. It wasn't something I knew all my life. So now I have to wonder, everything I learned that sounds kind of weird. I mean, was it really there the whole time, or did it show up, right around when I heard about it? Because that's another one where I never heard of it, and suddenly that knowledge was like everywhere. Like, oh, there's articles, so the first time I heard it, and then the next time I heard it was like a week apart. It's kind of weird. Germany used the drugs to invade Poland. I read books on these invasions. I saw movies on them. And there was never any mention of meth or even drugs. I mean, alcohol, yeah, but that was it. Very, very suspicious. Very. Where's my other? I read about Go pills in the Air Force. I mean, maybe recently, but I don't remember meth being that old, but I do know it was in the World Wars. Really? That's just weird. Dang, a lot of you remember it. Kennedy? No, I don't remember anything. People would, it was cocaine that people would get suspected of because cocaine was the older drug. I remember meth being invented in my lifetime. Here's a big one. Meth never killed anyone. Now it kills a bunch of people. Still less than caffeine. There was I had highlighted it on one of my live streams. There was that guy who used to be a doctor, and he said that when the opiates were first used, like OxyContin and stuff, they weren't as effective, and there was a lot of negative side effects. So people didn't usually get addicted to them that much, but they sometimes, it was fairly common for them not to want to take it. And he said it kind of started to change year by year where they worked better and they were more addictive. So I do think that our response to those, or at least some people's response to them, have changed. "1986, first time I heard of it." Yeah, that's about the time frame. 80s, 90s. That's the time frame I remember it. Coke and opium old. Meth, glass, or crystal within the last 30 years. Was white colored before. That's, yeah, it just, Coke and opium were the old ones. So if they said, oh, he was on Coke, I'd be like, okay. But now suddenly it's meth and oxycodone. I'm like, those words weren't around back then. Yeah, I mean, amphetamines, there were amphetamines. All right, well, some people are remembering it. All right, there's like two timelines again here. There's the, oh yeah, that was always there, and then the 80s. Yeah. 80s, 90s. I agree with you on there. Okay, I'm glad some people remember. Tech before its time. Yeah, it's chemistry tech before its time. But I guess it makes sense, you know, if all of our other tech moved back, then our ability to make drugs, I don't know. I guess it didn't have to move back, but apparently it was. All right, so anyway, I call Mandela for me. I see it's pretty split down the middle on that one. Okay, here's another weird one. St. Christopher. Okay, this one, remember who was that Bible character that grew the horns again? So now we have St. Christopher. What did he grow? Let me just, I didn't actually check just by typing his name and nothing else. So I'm going to do that now. St. Christopher images. Just to see what comes up randomly. All right, let me just see if I see it. I'm not seeing it. These weird little babies on the shoulder or something I never saw before, though. I'm seeing a lot of these mini adults. I think that's supposed to be Jesus. I know sometimes these mini adults are Jesus, so I think it is. I'm not real familiar with it. I just saw this the first time, like this week, these mini adults, and they're supposed to be like babies. But they're being depicted, some of them like those dwarfs I said I never saw before, that look like mini humans, like they're all proportional. So that one kind of freaks me out. I think it's supposed to be a baby, but it's a mini dwarf. All right. Oh, okay, here's one. All right. Took me how many lines, though, to find it? There's 1, 2, 3. St. Christopher. has a dog head now sometimes. That's St. Christopher, and he's known as, he has this dog head. In the old depictions, what's up with this cross? There's like 10 million extra. Okay, so there's the main cross, and then this and this. Now they got one over here, one over there. The thing is like it's like a fly swatter now. There's so many pieces to it. It's going to be hard to carry around the cross. It's going to be like, all right. I've not seen a cross with that many cross pieces. All right, so there's Mr. Doghead. Okay, now I had the storyline on here. This was, somebody found this on Retcons, and it was, all right. First I want to say, oh, I didn't get that one either. Okay. All right, so St. Christopher one was found by user on Retcon known as Inner Paper. So good find, Inner Paper. St. Christopher. So so apparently St. Christopher was a Caananite, and the story is like people misinterpreted the word Caananite to mean he was a canine. I mean, that sounds so stupid that it's like, but that's what the Mandela, I mean, that's what current reality is saying. And it's, you know, these heads are ugly. Like, if I was making a dog head, they look like Muppets, a lot of these. Look at this one. Christopher the dog head. So they even have a word for when you have a dog head, and it's cynocephaly. This guy looks like a Muppet. He doesn't have, a lot of them don't have dog ears. He's got a people ear, kind of a people face, but kind of a big fat nose. He doesn't look like a dog to me, a lot of these. Some of them look a little doggy, but, all right, if you have a dog head, if you're a Caananite and you have a dog head, then, let me see your doggy ears. And the eyes don't look right for a dog. I would not call that a dog. I don't know what I would call that. Those ears look like more like a rabbit. I mean, if somebody said, what is that? I'm not going to say, oh, it's a dog. This one's a little closer. But look, there's the people ears and the people eyes and the people eyebrows. It's like, What's this? That doesn't look like a dog. What's up with the pointy nose? It's so wrong. So these are, a lot of these are supposed to be really old paintings of St. Christopher with his doggy, poochy head. The dog, so he's named as the dog-headed saint because he was a Caananite. I mean, how would they not know that a Caananite is a location? You know, it's in the Bible. People were supposed to be reading the Bible back then. Look at that. Doesn't. So what? It's half dog, half people ears here. Where's his furry? Since if he's a dog, why doesn't he have at least hair? And then people eyes, and then he's got a people nose. If you're gonna make him a dog head, then put the dog's head on there. It would look better than what you're seeing. I mean, what is that? No. All right, I'm going to look that up. Wiki. So St. Christopher was a dog head. Cynocephaly. The characteristic of cynocephaly or cynocephalus, having the head of a dog or of a jackal, is a widely attested mythical phenomenon existing in many different forms and contexts. I mean, I've heard of werewolves, but they would just change like once a month. They didn't have a dog head all the time. And then they were very doggy. And it was a wolf. However, refers to, okay, this is, have human intelligence. Cynocephalids are known in mythology and legend from many parts of the world. Egypt, Greece, and China. All right, now I'm going to go to... jump to St. Christopher. Certain icons covertly identify St. Christopher with the head of a dog. covertly. They put it on a giant freaking picture, so it's not very covert. The background of the dog-headed Christopher is laid in the reign of Emperor Diocletian, when a man named Reprobus, the reprobate or scoundrel, was captured in comment against tribes dwelling to the Egypt. Oh, I did not read this last time. This is weird. Was assigned the name Numerus Mamaritarum, or the unit of the Marmaritai, which suggests an otherwise unidentified Marmaritai, perhaps the same as the Marmarikai Berber tribe of Cyrenaica. He was reported to be of enormous size, with the head of a dog instead of a man, apparently characteristic of the Marmaritai. So what, there was a whole race of Marmaritai with doggy heads? The Byzantine depiction of Saint Christopher as dog-headed results from their misinterpretation of the Latin term Cananeus, or Caananite, to read Cananeus, which is canine. I don't get how they wouldn't know what Canaanites were if it's in the Bible. I mean, how are you going to misinterpret a Latin term that's all over the Bible? To think that a Caananite... I mean, I'm not even that religious, but I know that a Caananite was a race of people that looked like humans. I knew that they weren't dog heads. And, you know, back then, religion was supposed to be a big deal, and everybody was supposed to know their Christian Bibles and stuff. So, anyways, I don't know, weird stuff in here. So, more weirdness in the history, the Christian histories. The dog head. Can you imagine? That would be like totally pagan. I have 5 acres of the Mormon tea stick plants full of it. I'm going to San Diego soon. I'm late on getting there to deliver one of my trucks to my buddy near Rainbow. Yeah, we have it growing around here. I don't think it's like right around here, but they do have it like inland from here, up in the mountains. Yeah, keep an eye on the Christopher medal. We might be seeing more of that one. I think that one might be fresh. Now there's dog DNA in Vax. Really? Dog DNA in Vax? Let's see. Even if it's not true right now, whenever you... What's the MTHFR gene means for vaccines? I was laughing at this because this is obviously, you know, like a swear word type of thing, but it's actually supposed to just stand for something that's in the vaccines. All right. Of course, I'm just getting info on dog genetic testing. All right, why is dog DNA in vaccines? Cell-based flu vaccines. The cell-based vaccine uses animal cells. Flu shot with dog cells. That's made with dog cells instead of chicken eggs. Ah, they used to say it was chicken eggs all the time. Which is how chicken eggs was how it was done for 4 decades. Flucelvax is grown in kidney cells from dogs. So I guess they're just taking the cells and growing them in a vat or something. The technology means the cell can be made in less time than a traditional flu shot. Enough virus can be churned out in about 65 hours to 75 hours compared to 6 months or so it takes to grow in chicken eggs. It also means that people who are allergic to eggs now have another option for getting immunized against the flu. Ah, see, maybe you'll grow a dog head in another few shifts. Or like, I swear those heads are worse looking than dog heads. They don't look like dog heads. That's what's weird about me. They're calling it, if they really thought he was a dog head, it doesn't look like, it just looks like it's got a big poached out face, but it doesn't really look like a dog. Snoop Dogg. If you get a big nose, you're a dog head, apparently. No, nobody. Somebody's behind on the chat. No RoboTrap for me either. Other than, I do remember Anubis from quite a while back. I don't remember any dog head stuff, other than Anubis and werewolves. But werewolves, they change they change and then they're very wolfy, not just the head. St. Christopher being a dog head. And they've got that word for it. I forgot it already. But they have a special word for dog heads. People that are dog heads. Yeah, I remember RoboCop also, but no RoboTrap. RoboCop, yes. All right, I'm kind of skimming now because I got so far behind. All right. All right. This is another one that I do not personally know on this one, but somebody brought it up on Redcon, and a lot of people saw it, and then we had 10,000 trolls on there. The Dome of the Rock had a symbol on the top, and what was the symbol? Was it A, like a crescent, or was it B, a circle? Crescent or circle? Which one was it? The dome, no cheating now, just from memory. The Dome of the Rock. This is like a dome day, okay? Because first we had the Capitol building. The Dome of the Rock, topper. And this one was found by ancient user on the subreddit called Ancient Nostalgia. She finds a lot of stuff. She's pretty active on the site. Dome of the Rock, topper, circle or crescent? Dog-headed peeps are cray-cray. Yep. I remember Anubis, but I don't remember any other dog-headed Egyptian gods. Yeah, dog statued. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Was Anubis always just a dog? I do remember Anubis being a dog originally. Then it was, and sometimes it's a person with a dog head. And I didn't really question that, but you have to wonder looking back. In this timeline, my right arm and right leg are slightly smaller than the left. That's been the case for me for a long time. I always wondered if it was because I played sports a lot in high school, and it was all paddle sports. It was like my right arm is actually a goodly bit longer than my left arm. Like, did I stretch it? I don't know. Who the heck knows? I was going to bring up something. Oh, you know what was weird is, I don't know if I brought this up, but I was standing with my friend, and she's the one who shifts so different from me, and her photo on her in her living room changed and all this stuff. And so we went to dinner lately, and I'm looking at her, and I realized that she's shorter than me. She was always taller than me, and she hasn't had any back problems or anything. And we're both getting older at the same rate. But she was like an inch and a half taller than me, and now she's shorter than me. And I'm like, what's your height? And she says it, and I'm like, that's my height. And she's all, yeah, I'm actually like a half inch below. And I'm like, well, I thought you were taller than me. And she's all, oh, like, oh no. I'm like, it was such a weird thing. Like, she was like sort of agreeing, but sort of like, I don't know. If it was me and I was like 2 inches taller before, I'd be like, yeah, I remember this and now I'm that. Or I would be like, no, that's always been my height. So, yeah, that was freaky. So she's shorter than me. I always used to have her kind of get stuff for me because she could reach it like that last 2 inches she could get. There was a whole thing I remember where we went hiking and there was this swing, and I couldn't really get my butt on it very easily because I was just a little bit too short and the sand had kind of been washed out under it. And she could sit on it and I couldn't because she was 2 inches taller than me. And if I tried to jump and sling my butt on there, I was risked like tipping over on the back of it. So I didn't do it. But now, I guess neither of us could do it. Yeah, Anubis. No, I don't remember him as a dog, but I actually do remember those weird Egyptian dogs. And then I learned of Anubis as a weird Egyptian dog. And then later I remembered I learned of Anubis as a human with a dog head as another form. Jackal. All right. So, anyways, the Dome of the Rock. Nobody remembers, huh? All right. Well, we'll go over there. A lot of people did remember this one though, but I think it was maybe more religious people. And there was a ton of where is that thing? I might have to go to the retcon thing. I'm going to go to the retcon one. All right. Retcon, Reddit, Dome of the Rock. Because she had a whole bunch of very interesting residuals, a whole bunch she dug up, where basically, okay, this is the current topper. And it's been that way a long time since any of us were alive, according to current reality. All right, there it is again. She's got all this residual. We're right next to the actual image. And you guys will be familiar with this kind of residual. They call it a crescent. So they'll say the crescent on the Dome of the Rock and blah, blah, blah. And then there'll be an image sitting there, and it's not a crescent. I'm like, what are you, blind? We actually had this skeptic come on and say, well, a crescent, it's a crescent, depiction of a crescent in round form and all this. All right, so here is some kind of, it's gotten really blurry. That's interesting. Last time I checked this one, you could kind of see that it was a crescent, but now, wow, it's not even, it's like this image is blurred out a bit since then. All right, let me see if I can find the ones where, all right, so it's really clearly a crescent there. I don't know if you guys can quite see it, but this is another one I should have dug out earlier. It's clearly a crescent here. So we have this skeptic. I deleted out a bunch of his baloney, but he was basically arguing that they made it a circle, but viewed at some angles, it kind of looks like a crescent, especially if the sun kind of blocks the top of it. I'm like, what kind of, doesn't make any sense. If they wanted to depict a crescent, why would they put a circle in? All right, that one is more current timeline. Somewhere she had some good stuff. All right, here, I think some of these might be it. Oh, see, there's the old crescent. I don't know what that pokey thing in the middle is. That kind of reminds me of the Capitol building dome, though, actually. I just remember it like a little bit of stuff in a giant dome. And so I'm kind of laughing that there are two of them. Some are open at the top and some are at the sides. I remember it opening at the sides. She remembers like moon-like. Dum, dum, dum. All right, let's see. This one might be the residual. I might have to give up if I can't find it. There's a million links on here. Nope. No, we're talking about another subject now. All right, I cry uncle, but there was quite a number of links somewhere in here where they would basically say the crescent at the dome of the rock, blah, 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 and there'd be a picture right there showing the circle. And so the skeptic was saying that clearly that meant that crescent was another word for a circle, or that crescents are somehow depicted as circles, but yet there was no commentary anywhere that said a crescent is depicted as a circle. But in his mind, it had to be true because they said the word crescent and there was a circle there. And so for him, that was proof positive that crescent meant circle. And I'm like, well, the definition of crescent is not a circle. And he's like, well, it doesn't matter because they obviously had to have used circles to depict crescents. It was just ridiculous. You can't argue with these skeptics. It's just like, I mean, like I would further take that somebody made a mistake or didn't speak good English than his story. All right, got the dog head. A quickie one. You know, I had that Sears logo weirdness where they suddenly had the Tippy logo on the Sears sign. And so I was in the bank the other day and it said Sears bankruptcy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, turns out they went bankrupt 8 months ago for me, Sears. And now they're in like trying to reorganize under chapter, what is that, 11? I think that's the bankruptcy one. That was not the case for me. I just kept hearing that they might go bankrupt any minute, and I kept waiting to see if they would. And I've kind of been joking about it for months. I'm like, oh, when are they going to go bankrupt? And I was kind of watching for it. I don't know. My parents, you know, I grew up in Sears, so it's just kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, Sears, you know, be kind of sad to see it go because of all the memories when I was a kid running in the aisles. And so apparently they went bankrupt 8 months ago, and I was pretty shocked because I'd been watching for news of the bankruptcy that surely must be coming because they were doing really badly. 8 months ago, no. And it was not 8 months ago when I heard people say they might go bankrupt soon. That was not 8 months ago. All right, blah, blah, got that one. All right. I don't know if you guys have kind of looked at the thinker lately. But it looks like his knuckle consumption has expanded some since the last I checked. We were talking about this on somewhere in Retcon, so I figured, hey, I'm just going to go check it out. So he's really like noshing on those knuckles now. I mean, like his whole mouth is like poofed out to the side with these big cheeks because he's like ramming those knuckles in there now. I mean, like, he's like, it's crazy. Go look at it if you can't see good on mine because it's like, no, people, he was not moshing on him. He looks like a monkey face now because his whole face is like pooshed out as he slams his knuckles in. He looks like an idiot. He looks like a monkey. His face is just... Look at that. Nope. And he used to be a little more fist-like. His fist has been like stretching. I don't know if you can see it good, but... There. Look at his whole face is like... It looks like a monkey. He looks like a dog head. He's growing a dog head. Look, there's his little ears right there. He's got one ear. We talked about that before. This stupid hat. Is there lines on the side of the face? I'm going to have to check that too. Doop, doop. Anyways, yeah. I call Mandela on the pooched out face. He did not have his cheeks all slammed out like that. I can barely remember the real thing now, and I grew up with it. You know, I think the current anatomy does not lend for this anymore, and I think that's why it had to change there. But this is still comfy. But it used to be the way the backbone and the head was and stuff that you could do it like that and you would be comfy. You could rest your head. So it kind of made sense for me that it changed. He has a weird looking bicep. Yeah, his whole muscles are just weird. He used to be real peaceful looking, intellectual dude. Now he's kind of like a tortured monkey that is eating his knuckle. It was a totally different vibe, the old one. That circle is tripping me out. It used to be a crescent. Yay, somebody remembers. The Jews being allowed atop the Temple Mount is a mind-blowing Emmy for me. Yeah, see, I wasn't really up on the religious stuff, so I'm a little weak on some of these. I actually did know some Bible stuff because I read it once, and I was curious about it, and I kind of kept tabs on anything weird in it. And the latest commentary was on it, but I didn't really spend a lot of time on the whole Jerusalem thing and stuff. The dome walls being a hexagon trips me out. Interesting. I stepped away from many things I used to love researching. I don't know why. You know, it's hard for me to take them seriously now because now I'm like, oh, you know, they're plastic. They could change. Who knows if they was even like that. So it's hard to really go, oh my God, this place has been here for hundreds of years and think of the history. I'm in my mind now, I'm thinking, I wonder if like the Emmy just built this last week. I wonder if that was even here. So crescent eclipse over the Muslim world on Boxing Day in 2 weeks. An eclipse. Yeah, there's eclipses every 5 minutes now. Kind of pointless since everything changes. Yeah, see, you could totally know the whole story and next week it's going to be wrong. So you do all that research, it's not going to stick. Crescent, Muslim symbol. Circle is a square too, according to skeptics. Yeah. Thinker is a word. Yeah, he really looks like he's worrying. He's all tortured in this timeline. Now, a lot of the other stuff seems to have gotten more peaceful, but some of these older ones, the older icons, are getting really degenerate. Just like scungy. The quality of the statue is really degraded. Looking at those feet, they look all monkey big and they're all bendy, and it's just not a very nice looking statue anymore. His eyebrows are all furrowed. His lip is snooshed up into his nose. All right. So, got you. Oh, this one was a funny one. So the new card game, I still haven't gotten my second set, but somebody found this on Redcon. Should be enough, I think, to find it. Whoop, wasn't enough. Even the new card game has this one wrong. Come on. Oh, what a stinker. It's not coming up now. I did this search the other day and it was right. Oh, here. I think it's on here somewhere. Maybe it's just recent enough we can find it. So I'm just looking at the recent Redcon ones. Here, this is the one by Ben Slack. So he was playing the game and apparently they can't remember the timelines either. Speaking of the thinker, this is, I think, the one that made me go look at it. So even the new card game has this one wrong. On the cards, correct answers are underlined, which is correct. Okay, so they're supposed to underline the current timeline. So Rodin's a thinker sculpture. The man is sitting with a closed fist on his forehead. And they have that underlined. So whoever wrote this was so sure they were right. I guess they didn't check. And they said, this is the correct one, closed fist on forehead. And that's wrong for this timeline. The other option is open hand on his chin. Well, it's not really on his chin. It's in his mouth. But, so, haha. Somebody screwed that one up. That's the only one I've heard that was wrong, like specifically. I've heard some mumblings about some other ones being wrong. So the card game is fun, but you might have to do some corrections. And if you're not sure, double check it. I just think it's funny that even they can't remember what timeline they're supposed to be in. All right, scare performance. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. La, 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 la. It's not the Lord has come. Lord has come. All right, I'm going to have to look that one up. Joy to the world. The world. The Lord is come. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. The Lord has come. That's interesting. It was the Lord has come. Now it is the Lord is come. It was always the Lord has come. The Lord has come. Let earth receive her king. Yeah. Okay. And Mandela for me, it was has. Always has. Has come. Anybody remember is? A lot of mine, there's been 2 timelines on these, I noticed. But seems like the history ones will be like, and the two timelines have very different histories on those skylab businesses and the meth. Recent versus ancient for both of them. Has come. Anybody remember is? Looks like it's all hases. The Lord is come. Well, maybe the Lord is come. I don't know. I do not know. I think there's a mix right now. There's some really much better things and some really much worse things in this timeline. Everything is just more dichotomy. The temptation to be bad is higher than it ever has been. Because so many people are like on TV, online, just being jerks, fighting, snippy, unfriendly, just cruel. There's a lot of shows on TV that I just feel like they're people being jerks to other people, and then those shows are real popular, and just yelling at people and saying, well, it's you deserve to get yelled at because you were dumb. And then, I totally disagree with that stuff. But people just get this attitude like it's okay to act like that. People online just like to go around and just tell everybody how wrong they are and how smart they are. Now, some of that could just be, 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds on there who haven't grown up. But how do you explain all the TV nastiness? Fighting, petty bickering. It used to be even the rich people that have a certain, expect to have a certain panache, a certain sophistication. They weren't supposed to have like fights on the carpet with their skirt hiked up and stuff. That was just considered unseemly. But, everything is just... I sound like an old whiner now, I know, but... I don't know, were people selfish before, but they just hid it because society expected you to act a certain way, and now it's just all out on the carpet? And so people, the temptation to go ahead and just do it now are so much higher because it's so much more accepted. Before, you would have been totally looked down on if you acted like that. So even if you had it in your mind or your desires, you would hide it. Now it's all out on the table. So I don't know. Have people really changed? I look back on like racist and obnoxious things my dad would say, in the privacy of our home. But then they would hide that. So I guess it's just all out, out now. I don't know if we've gotten worse, or it's just that it's more glorified than it ever has been. People were pressured to keep more stuff in the old days. And heaven and earth shall sing later on. And heaven and earth shall sing. I'm not 100% on that one, but I think it was heaven and earth shall sing. I guess I should go and look at it. Heaven and nature sing. Heaven and nature sing. Man, songs. I'm not like really good on this one, but I tend to remember like a few sentences really well out of every song. Now we sing. And I'm not finding anything like that. I'm starting to even hate looking up lyrics, because I'll look up lyrics and there'll be 3 sets of them and a whole bunch of stuff I never heard of. And some refrains are totally familiar, and then I'm like, I've never heard that once in my entire freaking life. And it's starting to just bug me. It's not like one word has changed. It's like those whole 4 sentences I've never heard of. Futuristic, I know why the chat censored my links. If you're not what is that word? A wrench holder. If you're not like a moderator for the chat, then you can't get any links through. Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and earth shall sing. Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one, because I don't know. It wasn't a song I said. I don't know. I just hear like the first 4 lines, and I always remember those on a lot of songs. All right, next. Okay, so even the name, blah, blah. Got that one. Oh, I think I'm like done. Let me just make sure. Sears, Schumann. Lately, I've been skipping things by mistake. Lakes. Got you. Dome of the Rock. Skylab. I got my scribbles. Yes. Ooh. All right, Jingle Bell Rock was on. This is the last one. Speaking of Christmas songs, all these are my scribbles. I want the whole lyrics. Hopefully this is the whole thing. All right. I do not remember snowing, and I don't remember blowing up bushels of fun. I do remember the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock, jingle bell swing, jingle bells ring. I remember that one, but not this one. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell chime and jingle bell time. I remember that. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square in the frosty air. All right. This is where I diverge. What a bright time is it's the right time. That's not right. It was nighttime. It's the right time to rock the night away. It was not what a bright time. It was nighttime. So we got night changed to bright time. It was nighttime. Is the right time. Now it's the right time. Nighttime is the right time. That's how I remember it. To rock the night away. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Now this is an older ME, gliding. It used to be riding. You go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Now you go gliding. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet. I remember dance around the clock. I really, really remember. Pick up your feet, dance around the clock. Now it's jingle around the clock. Jingle around the clock. That I guess kind of makes sense, but I guess if you have jingles, you'll be jingling around. But it was totally dance around the clock. I totally remember. This is for sure for me. It was dance around the clock. This is actually a really catchy tune, so I used to sing it a lot more. Okay, I think I got everything. Jingle, snowing and blowing. Yeah, I don't remember snowing and blowing. So those are the ones, snowing and blowing. I'd never heard of it. So I say there's the old glide, ride to glide. I don't remember snowing and blowing. Nighttime was definitely it, not the bright time or whatever it is now. It was and it was dance around the clock for sure. And the yeah. All right. So those are all my Emmys for that one. Yeah, I can't really play it because I could get I guess I could play like a copy of it. It was bright time then. I was just watching the American Bandstand and it was bright time. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it changed like 5 minutes ago, but it was definitely for many years. And I'm not, you know, maybe it even changed last year, although I don't think so. I don't think that it was, I don't think it was this messed up last year. Last year, I think that it just was ride changed to glide. To go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Yeah, see, it was riding for people, and now it's gliding. That other people have covered that one. I do remember that one covered. It was just that one. It's a swell time, jingle bell time. Actually, yeah, that does sound really familiar. Swell time, jingle bell time is a swell time. No, I remember jingle bell time is a swell time. That one's right. Jingle bell time is a swell time to go riding in a one-horse sleigh. Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, dance around the clock. It was dance around the clock. It was not jingle around the clock. Keeps jumping. I ate that. Of course, now I went back way too far. I'm going to have to just paw through some of these really fast. Yeah, that's the one thing that really bugs me about the current timeline is how mean people are. I mean, I've talked with people, like sometimes I'll talk with some of the trolls a bit, and I'll just go, look, I mean, you know, when you die and you meet your maker, are you really going to say that you thought that that behavior was justified and good? And they'd come back to me and they'd say things like, oh, you know, God's not going to mind if I do this and this. You know, that guy deserved it. You know, I'm like, I mean, do you really believe that? Or are you just trying to say it to bug me? I don't know. It just. So they have this whole attitude like God's going to condone that. I'm like, we're not talking about the same God anyway. Evil with regard to Schumann, Mr. MBB333 has videos on it and still says it's increasing. Huh, I'm going to have to check those videos out. I'm like way behind on watching his videos. All right, you remember what a bright time, it's the right time. I remember night time is the right time. It was definitely nighttime. I'm kind of a night owl, so I always like that line. Now see, it was always dance around the clock. There was no jingle. So there is a jingle around the clock? That's the bell. I don't know, it's not on here now. Maybe they've added more Is there more versions somewhere down there? I don't see the rest of it. Anyway, there was no jingle around the clock for me. That's one thing that they're doing. It's like, I guess if it's like one version here and one version there, then they'll just have it change. It used to be that the refrain would not change on hardly any songs through the bit. They wouldn't change dance to jingle. What's the point? It's just confusing. I guess that's how they solve the problems of mixing the timelines, is to just have one of each. People love to project their own distorted views of morality onto God. Yeah, I know, but it was just so bad. It's like, it was so ridiculous that he actually thought that the God of the Bible would, ever condone like picking on weak people and stuff like that. I mean, that's just like ridiculous. I mean, I don't always do what's right. I effort now, but there's times when I'm not perfect, but I do recognize, I'm like, that's not really what's in the Bible. I know it, at least I'm not like completely deluding myself, but the level of delusion just is shocking to me. And it used to be that if you call people on the carpet for their bad behavior, they would just deny they did it or hide it. They wouldn't just sit there and go, yeah, so what? God likes it anyway. I mean, I'm not used to that. I'd expect him to just deny it. Wasn't me, I got hacked or something. I don't know. It just... Insomnia is from asthma medications. I can take my asthma medicines and sleep like a dog. It doesn't stop me, because asthma medicines are kind of excitatory, and I'm kind of like not excited enough. So the asthma medicines just bring me up to like normal humans. Golden rule is tarnished and rusted out. Does anyone know Once Upon a Timeline's Reddit name? Yeah, it's Looney Gecko. I'm the mod there, one of them. I'm not the most active mod, but I do at least some of the lifting. Looney Gecko, LOONYGECKO, which is a popular Mandela Effect on the subreddit, because a lot of people remember the word loony. That is LOONY in my name, once being LOONEY. A lot of people. Yeah, Looney Gecko. It's not a secret, because I talk about back and forth with the YouTube channel. Looney Gecko, yes, that is the spelling of the current. So I'm user Looney Gecko. And, okay, I'm done. I got it all. And you guys seem like you're kind of done. Looney Gecko, yep. Bit of Venom's on there a lot. I think that's it. It's like totally late. This one went really long. I talked a ton. Today's been like a super long day, and I'm not even as tired as I really should be. All right. I'm definitely time to... The pot gets me motivata and gives me energy. Really, pot makes me like stupid, and my reflexes suck, and then I'm terrible at I'm terrible at pickleball. I tried smoking a few times, and then for like 3 days, I can't hit the pickleball worth a darn. I'm like, nope, it's not helping me anyway. 74 new Reddit followers. Yeah, I don't know. I talk about Reddit all the time. That subreddit has like, I don't know, 10,000 people already. So let's see, our retconned. We are really big. Not as big as the main sub, but I'm sure a lot of those people may not frequent it anymore. Let's see if the computer has another 5 minutes in it. Retconned. How many subs do we have? And a lot of people come to the sub that are not subscribed. So these are just subscribed people that get like notifications and stuff. All right, so we have subscribed people. We have 37,283 subscribed readers. I'm sure a big chunk of those, like anywhere, the sub is a couple years old. So some of those people probably don't come anymore. But then on the flip side, there'll be people coming that aren't subbed because anybody can come and read. It's totally open. So this shows how many people are here right now. I'm not sure if it's a subscribed people or regular people, but 73 people are reading somewhere on Retcon right now, or at least have the page up, supposedly. I don't know if they have to be subbed or not, actually. I haven't really thought of that. So, I kind of look at these users online. Let's look at our opposite land sub, which is the skeptic taken over sub. That's pretty much, some Mandela affected go there, but it's a pretty harsh place because you've got 20 people saying you remembered it wrong. All right, 73 users on ours and 125 users on theirs. So, we used to be just 10% of the users they had. Now we're a little over 50%. So we are kind of gaining on them as far as users online. There's a whole bunch of trolls that just spend their whole time just dogging people. I actually should show, somebody put some really good research on. I want to, if I can get her to just clean up this research a little bit, I want to put it on MandelaEffectResearch.com. Let me see if it's still on there. I think it's maybe a page back. I can't remember what the title was, so here it is, Comparing Believers to Deniers. So basically what she did was she's a big number cruncher and she's good at it. So she took the posting information, which you can find online. There's places that you can put in a user's name and they'll dig up their posting frequency and a bunch of other stats about them. And she looked at Mandela Effecteds. So if you look at Mandela, these are on the main sub, obvious believers. People go on there and just argue that, these are real changes. Okay, and so what you see about people, you get 5 or 6 people that really strongly believe in the Mandela, and they basically start posting. They start their account, and then they start posting more and more and more and more. This is over time. This is accumulation of, so it's pretty kind of straight line. This is activity level. So they get on, they start posting a lot, and then slowly they post more. Karma is how many votes you get up and down, and posting is just how much you posted. All right, so this is kind of how you would expect. Let's see. Now I believe I haven't totally looked through this one, but all right, deniers. So these are people who get on there and basically spend all their posts saying that we remembered wrong, which is ridiculous. All right, so this is the posting history of deniers. She got I don't know how many exactly. It wasn't a huge number, but look at their posting history. And so basically what they did is they start their account and they post really close to nothing. They supposedly started their account in 2018. They posted almost nothing all the way until almost a year and a half later, and suddenly they just spent all their time telling everybody on the main sub that we remember wrong. So what the heck? You get an account and then you don't post anything for a year and a half? I mean, it's an old account, but it's you never once used it. It's just really weird. I mean, unless it's some kind of, you start to really wonder about the whole bots thing or whatever. I don't know, but it's just really weird. So that was some really good research that she does. She's really good at, she knows where to find stuff, and then she gets it into the right programs that can process the info. This is user Sunshine Boom. And she did that one that I highlighted last week that's on the top of the research on Mandela Effect Research.com. So I'm trying to get her to maybe clean this one up just a little bit so it'd be on one page and then I could just link to it. Maybe with just a few more sentences of, cleaned up description. It wouldn't have to be super fancy, but I'm hoping. All right, so I'm really going to shut up now. And I'm really going to stop streaming. All right, I'm just going to look at you guys. Trolls downvote a lot. Excuse me. Yeah, anyway, so, yeah, it's just weird. Everything's weird here anyway. Don't post anything you plan to do a video on or it will be lifted. I always give credit. I tell people I do it. I haven't heard one person complain as long as I give credit. If you know, and I just mentioned it, if you really want to do a lot of people like the little mini videos anyway, so you'll still get tons of views. If you just title your video with the one Mandela. Pickleball. Pickleball is like this sport that's like, pickleball. You play it on like, it's kind of, there's another LME in pickleball for me. Pickleball, I always said, and it was always true, that you play it on a badminton court. It was always a badminton court. But now this front line has moved like 6 inches, and now it's not on a badminton court because the front line is 6 inches off of the badminton court. That happened last year, and I about flipped my kittens. And it also explains why I kept stepping. You're not supposed to step on this front line, and I found myself stepping on it all the time because it moved back. Ugh. It's like no wonder. So when you play, you can't step. If you're hitting it and it hasn't bounced, you can't step over this line. If it's bounced, you can.
Hey,
right, so
I'm Matt Goebel, and I'm here to talk to you guys about pickleball.
So basically, you've got like this paddle and this like
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in America. It was invented by 3 dads on Bainbridge Island back in 1965. It's a combination of tennis, ping pong, and badminton.
It's kind of like tennis because
it's played on a badminton-sized
really
court
easy,
with a net about
like
2 inches shorter than a tennis net.
It's not
you play it with a paddle a little bit bigger than a ping pong.
So the goal in pickleball is to keep it just barely
and a little more
over
durable
the net,
wiffle ball.
Unless they're way in the
back. You
back.
can play it as either doubles or singles.
If you don't hit it just
the
like
singles
that,
is one-on-one, doubles is a combination of 2 teams, 2-on-2. It's growing for a number of reasons. It's a lot easier on the body, and it's a lot easier to pick up. Most racket sports require hours and hours of lessons.
So it's
but with pickleball, you can walk onto a court, pick up a paddle, and within 5 minutes of learning how to play, you can be playing a competitive game with your friends. It's a really fast-paced sport, which takes advantage of your quick hands and reflexes, but it's also strategic. It's like a chess match on a court. Pickleball is a great workout. It's fun for all ages and skill levels, whether you've been playing tennis your whole life or you've never picked up a paddle or a racket before. Pickleball is a really social sport. Unlike tennis, you're really close to your opponents and your partner, which allows for more of a social environment on and off the court. And it's a super competitive sport with tournaments all across the nation all year round.
Tennis
if you want to learn more about pickleball and how to play, go to playpickleball.com.
So I hope I didn't play too much there and now get a copyright strike, actually. I'm like, I was so good the whole time, and then I screw up on that one. I'm going to have to punch myself. All right. Anyways, it's time for me to go. It's like so time for me to go. All right. So anyway, I've been playing pickleball for a couple years. It's fun. Pickleball is really easy for beginners to play because unlike tennis, you can hit it over and have fun. Even if you're just like 10 years old, you can have fun with it. And it's fairly easy to learn. At the higher levels, it's still hard, but can't hear you. The volume too loud. Video too loud. What, it got really loud? Oh, okay. Sorry. Oh, I should have shut them up. I didn't think of it. All right. Yeah. You know, usually these guys are kind of small time, us pickleball guys. So hopefully they won't mind the free advertising. Yeah, pickleball, yeah, I have a chance of that not being a problem. Pickleball people usually don't complain if people are advertising pickleball. I'm not like making a bunch of money on them, so we can only hope. All right, anyways, so I'm really leaving this time. So think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.